What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? What is going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. These shows be starting later and later. And when Brother Xavier come on and tell you to wake up, it hit different, seeing as it's done almost turned into an afternoon show. Maybe I'll get back to the mornings. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. But welcome aboard. You know what to do. Hit the like button, whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. One thing that I do gotta say in the pre-ramble as I get into this thing, I did a pre-record talking about how Yamanika Saunders, this is kind of old, because she kind of went off. And she snapped, and it took me a while to finally get to it. But then I finally responded to it via pre-record, but I got to break down the whole tape, and I got to break down the cocktails with Quains, how they weighed in on some things when it came to Joe Budden and what he had to say about the whole Meg Thee Stallion issue. And oh yeah, and he had to walk it back and apologize. I swear, the sisterhood be making brothers apologize more than the ADL. But let's go ahead and get into it. Strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What is up? What's going on, everybody? I got something in my hair, or that's just a bald spot? A little bit of both. All right, what's good? What's up? What's going on, everybody? And I see something going on in the chat room. And when Theo Waff asks, "What's your Cash App?" God damn it, you give him your Cash App in immediately. Theo, even though you're confusing me with the white lady, you really are. But when Theo want to know what your Cash App is, you make sure he knows what your Cash App is. There it is right there. $ Bernard Riley 99. Don't forget the 99, because there is another Bernard Riley out there who does not have the 99. But if you send him some money, he won't send it back. Trust me, I know. So don't forget the 99. Don't forget the 99. $ Bernard Riley 99 is the Cash App. Dr. Low IQ says, if BR stream for 3 hours, which one is the Grown Man Hour? The goal, shout out to Pablo, who came up with the name randomly, spontaneous. He just called the show the Grown Man Hour, and it stuck. But out of those 3 hours, we try to act like grown men, at least one of them. That's the rule. We don't know which one of the hours, We don't know which one of the hours that we're going to behave like grown men, but the deal is one of them. We don't know which one. But show's called the Grown Man Hour. We guarantee you at least 1 hour of acting like grown men, and it may be broke up in increments. um. Uh, I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to time you out or whether or not I'm going to de-wrench you temporarily because I like you. But if I temporarily de-wrench you and have everybody time you out once, I'm you know what? Nope. I'm not gonna go that full gangster with it. I'm not gonna go that full gangster with it. But yep, timed out. Boom. This is my first time timing out, Jackie Jack. Yeah, you earned your first time out. Jackie, I thought about temporarily de-wrenching you, so now be careful. But I do, Theo will block you all together. Theo has issues. He be just blocking people. But you gonna catch this time out. You're gonna catch this time out. But yeah. So we about to get on into this thing. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. About to be getting into a number of things. I'm so mad that I'm late when it comes to the whole thing with Yamanika. I was so late watching that. That ain't what I got up right now. Budden. That ain't what we getting into first. We gotta revisit some of our favorite friends over at Fox Soul. We gotta revisit them. We gotta revisit them first. I haven't touched on them in a while. I noticed something funny. One funny thing that I noticed before I get into it. And actually I saw Angry Man point this out first. Vivica Fox, in her little setup that she got or whatever, she'll have, it's like she had like a poster board of like Players Club. Not Players Club. No, that was actually Diamond. That was Lisa Ray. Had Players Club in the background, a little poster of that. And I noticed in the other clip that I'm gonna play, the comedian Pierre, he was in How to Be a Player and a few other movies from around that time in the 90s, and he had all his little posters from his old glory days behind him. And then I was cross-referencing that whenever OJ Speed come up here, he starts showing pictures. He always showing pictures from the 80s and 90s. It's like something about them older people. It's like they be reliving their glory days. They like never try to live that down. OG old ass forever trying to show us that picture when he was about 30, and that shirtless picture where he was posing like this. He forever trying to show us that. It's like they never stopped living in that moment when they was at their best. They never stopped living in that moment, and they just hell bent on reminding you about that one. And if you watch, you can't see it in the setup now. Some of them got like Christmas setups now, but they be having like little posters and stuff of the movies that they was in. Like Vivica Fox had like Independence Day up there behind. Like they be doing stuff like that. It's like, but anyway, we about to get into this. This stemmed from Joe Budden. Having something to say about Megan Thee Stallion, and I applauded him because, like I said in the pre-record, it's like a too little too late type of thing that some of the male black male rappers are doing. It's like, when Dave Chappelle said, when Kanye got in trouble with the ADL or whatever, he was like, I'm gonna see how this go before I speak on it. I'm gonna step back and see how this go. And I think that's sort of what they did with Tory Lanez, even though they sort of probably had inside information and kind of knew some of this truth that's already coming out. They kind of knew it, but it's like now they're like slowly but surely doing little stuff, like 50 Cent dropping the Megan Thee Stallion, Jesse Smollett side by side picture or whatever. You got freaking what did I just say? Joe Budden basically saying something along the lines of, that Megan Thee Stallion is rude. She didn't a lot of good, respectable people in the building, a lot of really great people that she's treated like crap. But it's like they're basically just coming out saying that she be on some bull. Well, Joe Budden did have to walk that back and apologize, because the sisterhood, they be making brothers walk back stuff and apologize. They be having more brothers apologizing than the Anti-Defamation League. Only difference is the sisterhood, they not in power and in position to take away a Nike contract. But if they could dissolve Joe Budden's if they could shut down his podcast, they would. Yeah. If they was in position to terminate a shoe contract, they would. When I forgot who it was. Was it 50 Cent or Lil Wayne said something about they like exoticals or something, or they don't got a preference for darker women, or they got a preference for lighter women, exoticals or whatever the hell. When they say shit like that, if the sisterhood was in power and position to dissolve all of Lil Wayne and 50 Cent business dealings, when they start talking about exoticals, they would. They would. They be making brothers they be making more brothers apologize than the ADL. Now, I don't think 50 Cent and Lil Wayne walked that one back and apologized. My point is that if the sisterhood was in enough power to disrupt some contracts, they would. They would. That's the point that I'm making. But Joe Budden, who got a history of caving and folding and simping and everything like that, he got a history of that. Don't make me go back and pull up the old. I know I'm not going to go back and pull up the old Nicki Minaj clips when he was still clapping, when she was just basically just going off on black men, and he was sitting there doing a very little suspect looking clap. I'm not about to pull that up. But right when Joe Budden, had testicles for a little bit and spoke his mind about Meg Thee Stallion, I instantly said he's going to have to walk that back and apologize. Instantly said he's going to have to kiss the ring. Instantly knew it. And now it's funny because, like I said, the ADL be making people kiss the ring. But when they own your contracts, it's like it's like Kyrie, you want to keep making that money. But when women come for you, it's like they can't take nothing from you. Why you yielding, folding, and kissing the ring? He didn't have to, but he did. He didn't have to, but he did. But shout out to Ride of God Podcast. He says the 90s were the golden age, the renaissance of Phuckery. Said super. Hold on, I can't even see. Let me make that look different so I can. He says, super chat. Oh, hashtag super chat is open. Right on, my man. That's very true. Very true. Super chat is open. Super chat is open. Thank you for that, Ride of God Podcast. Theo asked me what's my cash app. Let me periodically check Theo coming through, dropping early Christmas gifts and whatnot. Let me get this dang boy, Plantation Wireless. My phone take forever to click on. Take forever to click on, but all right, there it is. It's clicked on. So all right, I'll periodically be keeping an eye on that. Periodically be keeping an eye on that. But all right, let's go ahead and get in on this. Let's go ahead and get in. He says, I'm back. That was rough. I won't act up again. Okay. All right. Just have to give you a little smack on the butt. I mean, on a smack on the wrist. Smack on the wrist. I didn't. All right. Smack on the wrist. All right. Let's roll it. Let's roll it. This is, if I was a good content creator, I would have Joe Budden's criticism of her first, play that first, but I don't got it. But Joe Budden, he basically was talking shit about Meg Thee Stallion, saying that basically she's a piece of shit. And it's a lot of good people that he, got love and respect for, a lot of respectable, great people in the business that he treats, that she's treated like crap. But anyway, And this was the old bitter broad's response to Joe Budden.
Vivica, what do you think?
Joe Budden, if you don't button it up and sit your bitch ass down hating on that girl.
How does she go for she's starting to sound like Della Reese already. She sound like old scratchy voice, cigarette smoking, not even auntie no more. She don't even sound like cigarette smoking auntie. She sound like cigarette smoking grandmama right now. Like that's when you've really fallen off, when you sounding like cigarette smoking grandmama. You don't sit your old bitch ass. Vivica Fox is starting to sound like a Ronaldo Ray.
Vivica, what do you think?
Joe Budden, if you don't button it up and sit your bitch ass down hating on that girl.
She's starting to sound like Ronaldo Ray. You don't sit your old bitch ass up. How she sounded like Ronaldo Ray. Oh, scratchy ass voice. God dang. He said with the Newport hanging. Yeah. I could legit see a Newport just sitting there dangling. Shut your bitch ass up. You sounding like Marge Simpson's sisters. Marge Simpson's twin sisters. That's how she's sounding nowadays.
Vivica, what do you think?
Joe Budden, if you don't button it up and sit your bitch ass down hating on that girl. Okay, y'all mad because girls right now is ruling rap. It's just driving y'all crazy that the sisters is just ruling and taking numbers and can tell y'all about yourself, look sexy with it. It's a new day, you know, but if you wanted some attention, to be honest with you, I think that's the wrong one to try and get it from because it's really coming out. Facts are finally coming out after so many years of.
She's saying facts are finally coming out after so many years. This was on 12/20. If that date is right, that y'all could see, should be able to see in the corner right there. Well, in the upper right hand of, where Vivica Fox is speaking. This was 12/20. She's saying facts is coming out. The facts that came out is the eyewitness said 2 women was fighting. In one of the women, he used the word muzzle flash. He said one of the women went back into the car, and from one of the woman's hands, he said he saw a muzzle flash. That means a shot was fired by a woman. That means a shot was fired by a woman. Now, Tory, dumbass, probably, he said Tory shot in the air, which means he may do some time. He may do some time for that. An eyewitness said he saw Tory shot in the air. Just real quick backstory, because I know I've been all over this case covering it. Looked like 2 women was fighting. They was in the car fighting and blah, 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 blah. And the fight escalated out of the car. And one of them went back in the car, Kelsey, grabbed a gun, fired a shot. And Tory, who, Tory apparently went and got back in it. Or no, went and got in it. Probably was sitting back letting them fight. But then when a gun got involved, he jumped in it and apparently took the gun, and they probably started back fighting, and while trying to get them to break it up, he shot in the air. He might go to jail for that. So in all of this, he may get some time. The person who went and got the gun, who was fighting the person who was shot, is probably going to walk because she's not on trial. And she pled the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Yeah, that unfortunately that might happen. I don't claim to be the legal expert, but unfortunately that might be that's probably what's going to end up happening. That's probably what's going to end up happening. He ain't gonna get to 24 years, but some penalty will be issued. Hopefully, just get some probation or something. I don't know, but he's going. I don't see him not taking some type of L with that eyewitness saying he saw him fire in the air. Hood Conservative says the good nigga tax must be paid because, yeah, let's think about this. And we get into breaking down that Yamanika video where she's talking about black women not being protected. But the only reason Tory is on trial right now, if y'all don't understand what Hood Conservative talking about when he say good nigga tax, if y'all don't understand what he's talking about right there, he's talking about the mere fact that Tory is only on trial because he got involved. If he just would have let them fight all the way up to not excluding killing one another, if he would have just sat back and said, this ain't got nothing to do with me, yeah, I smashed both of y'all, but hey, y'all fight is y'all fight. Oh, y'all shooting? I'm definitely staying out. But by him trying to go in and intervene and being a part of it and wrestling the gun away from one of them and trying to break it up, and well, even though the eyewitness said it was an all-out battle royal, the bodyguard or the two women, he said the big man and the little man, that's Tory. They all in a battle royal, they fighting and this or that, and in the midst of it, Tory shot a gun in the air. That's what the eyewitness is saying. That's what the eyewitness is saying. By him getting involved at all to attempt to protect two black women from themselves, he ended up on trial for something he didn't do, but's going to end up arrested for something that he did do while trying to intervene and protect. And Megan Thee Stallion had the audacity to have the Malcolm X quote about black women being the most unprotected women in this country. And the black man who jumped in to try to protect y'all from yourself is the one that you accused of shooting you, when you know full well who you were in a fight with and who grabbed the gun. So it could accurately be argued that Tory was in this situation because he was trying to protect two black women from themselves. Whereas it could also accurately be argued that if he would have just sat there and watched and let them fight all the way up until, I mean, not excluding the possibility of someone getting shot, if he just would have stayed out of it, he more than likely wouldn't be in this situation. That's what Hood Conservative calls the good nigga tax. Another example of that is the guy whose name I forgot because he only played 4 years in the NBA. He was a role player. He was the one who died. He played for Michigan State, and he played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Adrian Payne. He got shot trying to intervene and protect a woman. That's what he got shot doing. He was trying to protect a woman who was in a domestic situation, and he got shot. That didn't stop Malika Andrews from announcing some hearsay rumors about some stuff that he was in 10 years ago or whatever, or something like that. that while reporting his death. Adrian Payne just died. He was shot and blah, 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 blah. We would be remiss if we didn't point out that he got caught jaywalking back in 2013. Like that. But yeah, it's wild. It's wild. It is wild. But yeah, but let's not lose sight of that. Shout out to everybody in the building. I see a bunch of people just made it on in. Making sure you hit the like button when you come on in the building. We getting into this. We're breaking down the cocktails with Queens and what they had to say about Joe Budden, who had some criticism for Megan Thee Stallion. Then they had some criticism for him, and then we got to get into the Yamanika rant that I've been delaying talking about. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's back it up a little bit.
Driving y'all crazy. Get up and sit your bitch ass down, hating on that girl.
Vivica, what do you think?
Joe Budden, if you don't button it up and sit your bitch ass down, hating on that girl. Okay, y'all mad because girls right now is ruling rap. It's just driving y'all crazy that the sisters is just ruling and taking.
Maybe he mad because she's about to get a man locked up for shooting her who she know didn't shoot her. Maybe that's why he mad. Maybe. Maybe.
Making numbers and can tell y'all about yourself, look sexy with it. It's a new day, you know. But if you wanted some attention, to be honest with you, I think that's the wrong one to try and get it from, because it's really coming out. Facts are finally coming out after so many years of this trial being long awaited, that she was shot. So, you know, get used to it, brother. It's a new day.
What alternative facts that coming out is she even talking about? This is going to happen in that Yamanika discussion. They're going to keep circling it back as if the debate is whether or not she actually got shot, or whether or not she, didn't get shot or stepped in glass. That's not the debate. The debate and the discussion is who did it and how inconsistent her story was and how much her story is being proven to be a lie. Nobody's disputing whether or not bullet fragments were in her foot. Nobody's disputing that. No, but bullet fragments in your foot, you could argue that don't mean getting shot, but either way it go, a gun was fired and you suffered injury from the blast. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. There's a legitimate trial for that. The question is, who did it? Who she said did it? What was her story? Does her story line up and corroborate with all the facts, eyewitness testimony, the ballistics, that's what it is. That's what it is. In the omission of the detail that her and her friend got into a fight because they been figured out that they've been sleeping with all the same men, and they got into a fight over that, and one of them reached for the gun and fired the trigger and pulled the trigger. That's what the debate is. That was like early 2020 when people was questioning whether or not she actually got shot. That part is that's been put to bed. That's been put to bed.
Girls are ruling. Sorry, Joe Budden.
She just done turned this into a girls rule and boys drool girl power speech. That's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. This is how these old ones they enable the fuckery. They enable the fuckery. They do. They absolutely do. Look at friggin' damn Lisa Ray right there, looking like the Wicked Witch of the West and the Cowardly Lion had a baby. Like, she just looking bad. Like ugh. Anyway, all right, play ball.
That's going viral. I'm gonna say this, Joe Budden. If you want to talk about someone doing something bad to someone that you're friends with, maybe you're not the person to say that. Because from what I remember, you are one that has been accused by at least 3 women of being abusive, one to the point that had a miscarriage and had a whole photo shoot. Well, not a photo shoot, but showed the lost baby in the toilet. I remember hearing lots of stories about you and your abusive ways, allegedly. And the same way you were able to move on and get a huge podcast deal and make a lot of money, that you snaked your friends up out of the podcast, but we'll get into that on another time. Maybe you should allow some grace and be like, sometimes everything that's said about something isn't really true. Or maybe you, of all people, would be a little bit more open-minded.
Now, she's doing a deflection tactic, but there's some truth in that. He's been charged up with some domestic violence multiple times. January Man put allegedly in there. When that much stuff come out, I always say all of it can't be true, all of it can't be a lie. He probably didn't smack the bitch before. It's probably happened. It's probably happened. I will grant that. I haven't looked at any of the details of that, but either way it go, whether it's true or false, she's still doing a deflection. Now, the reason I have very little, sympathy for Joe Budden in this, because like I said, he as far as I'm concerned, he's been a fairly consistent simp. And anytime that he halfway steps out of line and says something about a woman, he walks it back and apologizes immediately, like they got him to apologize for this one. I'm gonna play the quote of him apologizing. Actually, either RM, if you can, send me the clip of Joe Budden apologizing. Send me the clip of Joe Budden apologizing for what he said about Meg Thee Stallion. If you can find it quickly. I'm gonna play that after this. He had to walk it back and apologize. And we all can recall when he was on there with Nicki Minaj. He was going ham, going in on black men, and he was like clapping and whoop. So like, listen, he panders, he sells out. You know, he had his criticisms of Kevin Samuels when he was like, no man should be, you know, rating a woman. How dare he say the things he says or whatever, you know. So I mean, I got I got no major defense for dudes like that. But again, allegedly, supposedly, he the dude got cases of hitting on 3 different women. All right, cool. I mean, not cool, but that's out there, and she's using that to deflect from a situation where he's calling into question Meg's character because he's seen her firsthand have bad character. He's seen her firsthand have bad character, and a lot of her character is being leaked out. And they try to argue that her character don't matter in this case, but the bad character things that she's done, like you know, going behind her friend as if she keep going behind her friend, sleeping with whoever her friends sleep with, having sex with whoever her friends have sex with. And that was the circumstances that ultimately led to them fighting, which ultimately led to a gun getting pulled out. So all of that is connected. Her being kind of low down and dirty, all of that is connected, and it could be commented on. So, I mean, she got him in a decent checkmate if all that stuff is true. She said, you dirty too, shut up. Okay, whatever, but you still deflecting away from the issue, and that circles it right back to how they're putting on a cape at all costs. They're putting on a cape at all costs. I'm not gonna put on a cape at all costs. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Tory was stupid shooting in the air. He probably gonna do some time for that. For shooting in the air. He's shooting in the air with 2 women fighting with a gun. He took the gun from him. He shot in the air. Even though the eyewitness said he saw a woman shoot first. And then that's when Tory jumped in and took the gun. And was trying to break up the fight and shot in the air. He's gonna do some time for that. Theo in the building says, Merry Christmas. Check that Cash App. Santa is black. Absolutely, absolutely. He says, Santa is black. Let's all support the Grown Man Hour. Absolutely. 100%. Do appreciate Theo coming through hard and heavy-handed with the $100 super chat. Now we got to bring that back when we get a $100 super chat. Got to let Smokey count it for us. Make sure.
$100.
Why can't I drop the damn bomb? Hold on. And the mouse. Man, that's a good one. Theo sent me a Cash App. Hold on. This is. Let me see. Come on. All right, Theo just sent me a sizable Cash App for $200. Now, after I get a Cash App from Theo for $200, Jackie Jack gonna request 20. That's some funny shit. That's some funny stuff. Let me time her out real quick. I'm gonna time you out twice. How do I? Okay. They only let me time you out once. Oh, wait, no, I can double back on it. All right, you timed out twice. Okay. I think Jackie gone for 10 minutes for that one. Jackie is out of here for 10 minutes for that one. Azrael, first of his name in the building, he says, this just proves that the gender war is real. Dudes want to say this space is a microcosm of society and doesn't happen in real life. That's cap, the denial. some things that go down in this space, some of it, I would say some of it don't correlate that well with reality, because some of it do be some exaggerated conversations, or we may be 12th in the 12th round of a fight where, you know, somebody said something and made an argument, and we counter that argument, and they counter that argument, we counter that argument. Somebody could come in on the outside looking in and not know what the hell we talking about. In that sense, some of it don't be fully grounded in reality. It'd be a lot of YouTube conversations. However, there is an aspect of what we talk about here that is a spot on microcosm, of reality. But I don't think you can apply all of it to everything. But when we talk about the difference, the breakdown in how Black women view things and how Black men view things, and there's obviously a difference between male and female of all races, but it is a contrast, staunch down difference. Like Black men and Black women will get completely divided on some things. And the only reason that they're getting divided on some things because Black men are actually giving their opinion on major media, smaller independent media platforms, but with enough men doing it, it's getting to the point to where it's turning into a widespread thing. So, and it's gotten to the point to where now the people that say that we'd have no effect, y'all ain't gonna change nobody mind, y'all ain't gonna change the minds of these women. Not that the mission statement is solely to change the mind of women. I mean, I think anybody who has a podcast, a platform, if millions or thousands of people are seeing, you know, these type of conversations, yes, we're stirring the pot of society to the point to where in this situation, like the amount of criticism that Meg gets, 10 years ago, she wouldn't have got this much criticism. 10 years ago, she would have said Tory did it, and goddamn it, he did it, and that's that. And nobody would have questioned anything. You know, they had to come up with hashtag believe all women when people gradually finally stopped believing all women. That's when they came up with believe all women. Before, they didn't have to have a hashtag believe all women because people just believed women when they said something. So you can't say that no effect is being had. If even right now, like I see so many, like even that other chick that be in the courtroom who be talking to DJ Academics, she be ripping Meg a new one. I was like, damn. And she's sitting there in the courtroom. She going ham. Now, it's some that's doing it for content. I get it. But it's some who not even doing it for content. Hell, just watch the comment section. Watch the comment section and look at the ratio and percentage of women who are actually going in on Meg and Kelsey and their nonsense versus to compare to the ratio of women who are just on some believe all women, blame Tory, he's a man, bad, women, good. Listen, let's take a good look at that. Take a good look at that, and you could see it right there, plain as day, that men using their platform, speaking up and talking about this stuff makes a huge difference. It changes the whole paradigm of how people think and analyze things. You know, before nobody would side eye Malika Andrews, like why do this Black woman keep bringing up the criminal record of Black men, something they did in college when they just got a coaching job in the NBA 13 years later. Like people just would just gloss right over that. But like, no, we be pointing out stuff that people starting to see. So we definitely have made an impact. Dane C says, BR salute. With the exception of Yamanika, Black Feminist Rants, Comedy Hype is a dope channel. Plus, Last Testimony bring up Tory being framed. You saying somebody the Last Testimony? What do you mean? Are you talking about that the eyewitness who saw it from like his porch? Are you talking about that? If you're talking about that, then yeah, I understand, because she know in that case, Meg know that Kelsey you want to grab the damn gun. Shout out to Theo once again, dropping 100 on it. I already shouted him out, but I'll click on it again while it's right there in my face. But shout out to Theo. Do appreciate you coming on through. I'm very hesitant to not, well, I don't know. Someone. Nah, I'm gonna pull back. I was about to start semi-announcing. So I'll wait later. I'll wait later on that. Azrael, first of his name. Some people already know, but I'll wait later on that. But Azrael, first of his name, says this just proved. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Hoop jargon in the building says Merry Christmas. Check your Cash App. I left nothing. I appreciate the $2 super chat, and of course, Jackie is probably still timed out for I try to get a Cash App from Theo. She come behind and make a request. I don't know what the hell she think this is. What the hell she think this is? RM, you sent me. Oh no. You sent me the wrong thing. That was an older video. What you sent me? I was looking for a recent video of Joe Budden apologizing about his comments about Meg Thee Stallion. I was looking for that. That's on that. It's on that spiritual word Instagram. It's on that spiritual word Instagram. But yeah, but no, I'll probably dig it up if you can't dig it up, or somebody can't email me that. But anyway, let's dig back into this. Let's dig back in this. Shout out to everybody supporting the stream. Appreciate each and every one of you. Let's go.
You haven't had a hit in a long time. Well, let me take that back. The last time you had a hit, it was hitting a woman. You have had a hit, but ain't the kind of hit you should be having. And yes, I'm going to go there, and you can say whatever you want about me. I don't really give a goddamn. I really don't. But I'm sick of people with no valid reason, because I get that a lot too.
They going ham on Joe Budden because he said had some negative criticism of Meg Thee Stallion. Joe Budden had to apologize. Black women be making more brothers apologize than the Anti-Defamation League. Only difference is they don't got power to dissolve your contracts, to take away your shoe deal. They're not gonna blow up your Adidas or Nike contract. So I don't know why they think they got to get perp walk through the social media streets and apologize because some women had a problem with what you said. I'll never understand that. You said what you said and you said it. And yeah, they going ham bringing up his alleged abuse record.
I just don't like her. Tell me what I did to you. Did I hurt you? Did I take your man? Did I steal? Did I violate you in any way? No, it's just a thing. Well, Megan has that thing about her that makes some men feel that way. And now this whole trial has become about her sexual history. All you niggas that's talking about her have had way more partners than her. Excuse my.
Her sexual history is relevant to the trial because her and her best friend got into a fight because she kept smashing she kept having sex with men that her best friend was having sex with behind her back. That's why they got into a fight. Her sexual history is part of what kills the narrative that it was Tory who did it because he was mad because she said something about his music career. Her sexual history is, and particularly their sexual history with Tory, is the reason why the two women got into a fight, like the eyewitness said, and then one of the women went in the car and grabbed the gun. The whole story is blown up because of that. Her whole story is blown up because of that. So you have to include her sexual history. You have to establish why the two women was fighting before you even had the eyewitness bringing up her sexual history, not just bringing it up because, oh, she's a nasty woman, she had sex with somebody, but no, these two women had sex with at least 3 of the same men and they got into a fight about it. And somebody got shot. That's why it's relevant. That's why it's relevant. They're trying to pretend like it's being brought up just, like people just bringing it up just so they can get the, just because it makes our teeth white to call her a whore. Like, no, it's being brought up for a reason. It's being brought up for a reason because it was the root cause of why they got into a fight and why the gun got pulled out and why the initial narrative of Tory being mad at her and pulling out a gun and reaching his, standing on the edge of an SUV and being 5'3", but somehow could reach over it and curve the bullet and say, "Dance, bitch, dance." And it's the actual story that proves the lie wrong. That's why it matters. I'm sorry, yeah. I had dead air. I was checking something. All right, that's the video of him initially. The one you sent me now. That's the video of him initially talking junk. Talking junk about her. That's why they mad right now. I don't know if that's the one where he apologized for it. I don't know if that's the one where he apologized for it. But let me get back into this.
Language on this Christmas show. You all have, but with some reason with Meg, it's so disgusting. How about Tory slept with 2 friends? No one says that. If I slept with 2 homies, I'd be the biggest whore in town. But when a guy does it, we blame the woman.
She's not on trial for being a whore, and Tory isn't on trial for being a womanizer. That's why it's not a matter. They're not bringing up that she had sex with somebody just to say, look at her, she's a bad person. And they're not going to bring up that Tory had sex with somebody to say, look at him, he's a bad person. The sexual escapades is what caused the initial fight, which led to the gun being pulled out. That's why it was relevant. That's why it was relevant. Doesn't matter. The debate over whether or not if a man has sex with a lot of women, is he considered a slut? If a woman has sex with a lot of men, is she considered a slut? And if a man has sex with a lot of women, is he considered a slut maker? That's not the discussion. Nobody's on trial for that. She keep trying to spin it in that direction. You can't spin it in that direction. That's not what's happening here. Bringing up her sexual past is to bring up the nuts and bolts reasons as to why these 2 women had initial fallout and had an initial fight. But now that they got the eyewitness confirming the fight, confirming the reason that the altercation happened, and confirming that a woman grabbed a gun first. Now, so it's basically the story and testimony in the eyewitness, the testimony from all the people involved and the eyewitness story is converging and looking together. It gives a full, accurate picture of reality.
I don't care how many people she had sex with. I don't. She is the only one injured in this case and is the only one that keeps getting shrapnel thrown at her after the fact. You don't have to like her. You don't have to like her. But I would hope if any person, I'm not going to say black, if any person gets shot, the trial would not be about who you slept with. You lied about the midget years before. You said this. You drink a lot of alcohol. I would hope it'd be about the facts about who the fuck shot me in my foot.
She just called him a midget. That's funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. But again, they keep doing that. They just keep doing that. They're making it seem like they're bringing up the sexual past for no reason. It's coming up for a reason. It's coming up for a reason. It's relevant to the case. It establishes. They say sort of like, her past gives motive, like what Hood Assertive just said right there. It establishes the motive and reasoning. It establishes the motive and reasoning as to why the altercation occurred. That's why it's being brought up, not to just drag her. If somebody was shot, if a man shot his wife because he caught her in bed with another woman, and that's what they can't prove it. They can't even exactly prove that he shot her. They're just trying to establish motive for shooting her. And they ask, isn't it true that he caught you in bed with another man? I think I said woman. Isn't it true that he caught you in bed with another man on this night? Yeah. And that's the night that he shot her. Let's say she didn't die in the shot. That's the night that he shot her. Isn't it true that he also a few weeks ago caught you out with another man? Isn't it true that he went to his brother's house and caught you in bed with his brother? Okay, so on the night that you got shot, this was the 3rd time he caught you in bed with another man. Is that accurate? Yes. It's not bringing up her past just to call her a hoe. It's bringing up her past to establish why this man was angry enough to shoot her. She would understand that if it was a man who shot a woman, you would understand that. You would understand how sexual past and sexual escapades that lead to fights that lead to violence, that lead to people getting shot. You would understand that.
And then everybody on the Instagram want to be a goddamn forensic scientist. Well, it's shrapnel. Well, it ricocheted off the ground.
Don't it be forensics on the Instagram?
One of y'all caused me to get shot. I didn't shoot myself. It didn't magically go on my foot from just chilling. You don't have to like her is my point. There's people that I do.
She's deflecting it from saying, one of y'all caused me to get shot. Like as if people still debating whether or not she gets shot. But she's saying, one of y'all, one of y'all caused the injury. Like we understand that. We understand that somebody that night caused her to have injury to her foot that came from a gunshot. Everybody understands and accepts that. The problem is that she accused somebody who's looking like he wasn't the one that did it. That's the issue. That's the issue. People are doing their level best to defend what they determine and assess to be an innocent man who still may do some time because he shot a gun in the air, according to the witness. But he shot that gun in the air after a female shot a gun with a woman. I don't even know if she shot it directly at her. I don't know that much. All I know is two women were fighting, and one of them went to go grab a gun, and a shot was fired. And then later on in the battle royal altercation between four people, the short man, as the witness said, got the gun. The short man got the gun and shot it in the air, probably trying to break things up. That's what we know. That's what we know based off the witness. Deanie in the building says Candace Owens has an interesting take on this. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that. Now, everybody log off of my show and go watch Candace Owens. Thank you. I'm just playing. All right. Well, thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. Shout out to Hoop Jargon, Jackie Jack, Deanie, Azrael the Daywalker, Dame C, Rod of God, and especially Theo, who hey, get Theo's name scrolling at the bottom, RM, as the sponsor for today's show, because he definitely came through hard and heavy-handed. He definitely came through hard and heavy-handed. But all right, we'll roll a little more of this.
Not like in the social media world, other people. I'm gonna move on in a second. I got this. There's people I do not like, but I do not want them to be hurt. And that's that. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm
All right. How do I get rid of that? All right, moving that down. The thing that Joe Budden initially said that set them off. The thing that Joe Budden initially said that set them off and triggered them. And this is really, really quick. This is really, really quick. I'll play that while I go pull up his apology. Because, like I said, they make more Negroes apologize than the ADL.
I've seen this woman do horrible things to some really great people that I have long-standing relationships with in this industry. So I'm biased. Like, you can't just treat my friends and people I with and people I've seen in this game for 15 years a certain way.
And to be honest, you guys, I've kind of heard similar situations.
Wait a minute. See, I didn't mean to play this chick. I don't want to hear this chick talk. I don't even know who she is. I don't even know who it is. I just stole somebody's content. And I just took their junk down. I don't know who the hell they are. But he had to walk it back. But keep in mind, when you listen to what he said right there, they said all that they just said in that clip I just played, brought up his past criminal record and everything over those statements that he just said right there. And I don't even got the clip of him apologizing, but that's not the main part. That's not the main part of the main course. But he had to walk it back. And he had to apologize for aspects of that. If I find it, I'll play it. I think I might got it right here. I apologize for the dead air. All right, here it is. Really? You don't send me a written statement of it? That's Jackie sent me the emailed written statement of it. Okay, so I'll read it. Jeez, I wanted to play the clip. It says, I'm apologizing to Meg, the retired rapper said in December 21st episode of the Joe Budden podcast. Meg, the people that, he says, Meg, the people that love her handlers. Isn't that like a shot at somebody to say, to just admit out loud they got handlers? Anyway, Meg, the people that love her handlers, her team, the people that have supported her through what has to be an exhausting trial, I listened back. I got a few phone calls from women that I love and appreciate and admire. So basically, Sisterhood got on the phone, called him to basically, give him 5 requirements that he had to meet. He had to demonstrate an understanding, and he had to, he had to go sit down with Oprah and and wash her feet and, and demonstrate an understanding or something. I don't know. But he said, I'm apologizing for the careless manner in which I joked about her mental health. I don't even know if I played that clip right there, but I guess he joked about her mental health. But he said, I'm apologizing for the careless manner in which I joked about her mental health. That didn't sit right with my soul and my spirit. That's not funny, because whether you believe her or don't believe her, this is coming from the Vibe magazine. I don't got it up, but I'm just reading it to you. As you believe her or don't believe her, can you afford to be wrong? And the answer is no. All right, so that was his apology. They made him walk it back. Oh, it was right here. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I can't even see the screen. I apologize. If this was weird how I displayed this, because I like to do better. I like to have everything on the screen for you. So give me a second. Okay, I got the audio. I have the audio. All right. One more click and it is up. And
like I stand in my dislike with a girl. So let me be clear to the audience. That has nothing to do with this case or Tory Lanez. For me personally, I've seen this woman do horrible things to some really great people that I have long-standing relationships with in this industry. So I'm biased. Like, you can't just treat my friends and people I fuck with and people I've seen in this game for 15 years a certain way.
And again, that still wasn't the clip I was looking for. So I ain't gonna have the audio. I ain't gonna have the audio of of him actually apologizing. Everything I keep finding is the clip of him making the initial statement. That got everybody coming at him. They got the Sisterhood coming at him and got him apologizing for that. But all right. Okay. All right. I saw the audio this morning of the apology. Nate, you're asking for that clip. There you go. That's the article. The clip is in that article somewhere. But all right. So moving along to the, dare I damn near say, the main event here. To damn near what I would have to practically pretty much damn near call the main event. Because this was a wild one. This was a wild one. Let me pull that. Aaron, pull some super chats up. I'm gonna shout out super chats. If I think it's some new super chats before I get into bringing up the main event. I apologize for the dead air. I normally be having everything ready to go. But it ain't all the way ready to go. But build it while we fly it. Y'all know the routine. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so before I get into the main event, before I get into it, a story to tell in the building says Joe initially stated that the industry found out what happened. Woo! See, that's a clip I need, which is why people started dealing with Tory again. I believe that's the case, and that's why Megan been throwing stuff out that like Megan been throwing it out there. She was saying the industry sided with him, and I was saying to myself, hold on, yeah. All right, my bad. I was saying to myself, how could you just say that they just siding with him? And I was like, well, she's saying that they siding with him only. Wow, I paused her with her mouth open like that. Anyway, so when the industry sided with him, I was saying to myself, what does she mean by that? What does she mean that they sided with him? And that the only conclusion I could come to is that, oh, he's still getting work. Because she felt like, hey, this is a man who shot a woman. He should be done. He should be fired. He should be canceled. He shouldn't be able to work. No promoters should work with him. No venues. No other artists. No other no. But if you're saying that Joe Budden stated that people in the industry knew what really went down, and that's why they was like, nah, we still working with Tory, that says a lot. And that's why she tried to say that it's a male-centered old boys network, as if according to Vivica Fox, apparently the women taking it over, and that's why the men mad. But no, it's a male-centered. She tried to depict that as a male-centered old boys networks. You see how she tries to take every angle of victimhood that she possibly can. She tries to take every angle of victimhood that she possibly can. Hoop Jargon in the building says, but for real, supporting the show that gets me through most mornings. Salute BR. Well, if it gets you through most of your mornings, I'm gonna try to start coming on in the actual morning. I'm gonna start trying to come on in the actual morning. I'll be coming on too late. But either way, it's turned into an afternoon show. But anyway, let's go. Let's go.
Ongoing Tory Lanez trial as witnesses have started to take the stand. Megan Thee Stallion would take the stand as a witness for the prosecution, making this the first time she's spoken in detail about the night when Tory Lanez allegedly shot her in the foot back in the summer of 2020. During her testimony, Megan said that the assault was the result of an argument she had with Lanez and her former best friend and assistant, Kelsey Harris. According to the Los Angeles Times, on the stand, she said, "I can't even be happy. I can't hold conversations with people for a long time. I don't feel like I want to be on this earth. I wish he would just have shot and killed me if I knew I would have to go through this torture." Now, ever since this incident was made public, sides have been chosen, leading us to wonder if the campaign Protect Black Women is just a talk in our community. And are Black women more loyal to Black men? Today,
now you see the two narratives that she tried to set this up with. She tried to say, this case has been polarizing and it has caused us to examine whether or not the statement protect Black women is something that we just say, and it has also caused us to look at it as whether or not or to question whether or not Black women are more loyal to Black men than what Black men are loyal to them. It's like, you could see that they're front loading it with narrative. They're front loading it with narrative, and that's part of what a lot of people in the Black manosphere has been pointing out, that like comedy hype, like this doesn't say Black female centered news, like this doesn't say Black woman sphere channel of Black female agenda, Black no, it's just a Black news channel, you know. But when you look at the direction that it's slanted to, that you like, you can't not knock Black men for looking at it and saying, wait a minute, this ain't all this stuff that we look at and we view as Black. This ain't us. This ain't for us. It's like, you know, we got to come over, hop on. If we hopping on, supporting and championing this shit, it's like we're basically saying that, yes, we, you know, we're gonna have a small seat at the table, but still be second-class citizens. It's like, no, like this. That's why I always speak to this space, how it made it to where the thoughts, views, ideas, and perspective of men has come to the forefront, have changed the narrative and stirred the pot. Now, even in this conversation, even though Pierre tried to give her some pushback, and I always said Pierre, he's a simp too. I remember when Pierre was on the discussion, I did some content on this when he was on the discussion with Ricky Smiley, and Ricky Smiley has been, you know, de facto a part of the father's rights movement, and Ricky Smiley said that a lot of these men aren't just abandoning their kids. It's a lot of women, you know, alienating the father from the kids, and Pierre was like, really? You think so? You know, and so that let me know all I need to know about about Pierre. And even with this, he even though he was pushing back on some of the things he was saying, he was arguing it from the perspective, oh yeah, Tory shot her. He shouldn't have shot her. Yeah, no, I accept it. I accepted he shot her. And then what, you know, it's like they bring on a guy who has to accept their initial premise. You know, Pierre has to be on there accepting their initial premise. You know, so yeah. Let's see. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. All right. Make sure you include that Cash App into the total countdown there. All right. Let's go.
We have our comedy hype analyst, Yamanika Saunders, and Pierre calling to the show to give their thoughts and reactions. Now, I want to give a little update first, just to kind of set the tone for people that may not be aware. So right now, we've currently heard from Megan Thee Stallion on the stand, and today, her former best friend, Megan Thee Stallion lately, you know, her recent statements were, hey, I wish that I would have just been shot and killed if I knew that I had to go through this torture. So I want to start with you, Yamanika. You know, I want to get your reaction and just your thoughts on this trial.
I mean, the question has always been like, has she been shot? Was she shot? Which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's something that can be determined whether she was shot or not. I think that it has shown very obviously that there is.
Again, that's building the narrative. The question really wasn't just strictly, was she shot or was she not shot? The question was always more so, who shot her? It was a who, what, when, why, you know, those questions. Those were the more pressing questions, not whether or not. That was early on, as I said earlier. Early on, it wasn't an issue. Did she get shot? Did she step in some glass? She initially said she stepped in some glass. Some people not believing she got shot. But you know, that was the early debate. That's not the debate now. And I'll give some grace on this part right here, because this is what they're talking about right now. This was at the early phases of the trial. More has come out. So I'll give some. I'm kind of going to skip. I'm just going to skip to the interesting part.
Community amongst men and women, there is a lack of protection, love, and consideration when it comes to Black women, and especially in the midst of violent acts. And it's quite sad to see it unfold, and it's quite sad to see this play out. For
seeing that she's talking about it, and I see I can't skip this part. she's front loading and talking about it from the perspective that it's a foregone conclusion that she was shot. And the only debate is whether or not she was shot, and people aren't believing her just because she's a black woman. No, people saw inconsistencies in the story, and it's not about the black woman in her protection. It's about the black man who's on trial for committing this crime. If he didn't commit it, yes, the black community should be every bit as much up in arms against Meg Thee Stallion as they would be if it was a white person. Or let's flip this around. Let's try to flip this around. Let's just say it was a white woman accusing a black man of something on some shaky evidence. On some shaky evidence and some lies. The black community would be up in arms saying, wait a minute, this brother cannot be just can't just go down for this, can't just be locked up for this. Like if this was a non-black person accusing a black man on the same shaky evidence, it would be all kind of, no justice, no peace marches, Black Lives Matter marches. Some shit probably would have been burned down by this point. Like for real. So you can't climb up on that cross. All right. That's the bullshit that I'm hearing. That's why I put in the thumbnail what they really want protection from. They want protection from criticism. They want to be able to do what they want to do, say what they want to say, and can't nobody say nothing about them. And if you say something about them, you hate black women, or you don't respect black femininity, or you're not about protecting black women. They're using the same ADL tactics. Only difference is they don't got the power to take away a Nike contract. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. You can't accurately describe what's wrong with this picture without them saying that, oh, but you don't value black women and they're not protected, and people, they're just everybody's treating the black woman so wrong. They're doing the same tactic that the ADL do.
Somebody who is, trying to be an example of women empowerment and, esteem for young girls. And
Meg Thee Stallion trying to be an example of women empowerment. WAP is women empowerment. Let's just wet ass pussy. She's just gonna put Meg Thee Stallion side by side with Michelle Obama, Rosa Parks, and Harriet Tubman. She just, like I was just trying to think of some black female Mount Rushmore. Just there was only names that just reeled off real fast. I couldn't think of it, but
things of that nature, and someone who just recently lost their mother. So, I really feel bad for Megan during all of this time.
Absolutely, Pierre. Let me bring you in. I know there's a lot of layers to this, but just with the recent updates and everything going on, I'd love to get your reaction and just your overall thoughts on this trial.
I have many of the sentiments that Yamanika has, but one. When you start lying from the rip, and now you're asking somebody to believe you, you put it in your situation. When she first said she wasn't shot, she stepped on some glass. Right there's the lie. If she would have said that right then and there, hey, he shot me, we can move forward with that. But for her trying to protect him, which made us believe, okay, maybe she went on glass. Now it's trying.
You see how he's arguing against her, but he don't have the intelligence. Okay, I want to question his intelligence. He don't got the balls to reject the premise outright. He don't got the balls to reject the premise outright that, wait, but did he shoot her? he can't even fathom that and how shaky that was.
He shot me. Well, if you start off with a lie, you're putting yourself behind, the 8 ball to try to be believed. And some people won't believe you now, and I'm not saying she wasn't shot. But the point of it, you say you weren't shot, and then you say, no, I am shot. Well, you shot? You're not shot? What's shot? Now, I believe she was shot. So it is not going to be hard to find out if she was shot. Now, they go back to the place where the car was at. You can see, with a gun, you can see bullet holes in the ground. You shoot at her feet a couple times, shot with 5 times. So you can see some scratches in the ground. But time has passed. She tried to save him. And now it's trying to get back into reverse because the city is coming after them, making them talk. Because I know she's quite sure she don't want to talk about it no more. But the city is now suing it and is putting her into it. And she feels very uncomfortable. So, it started off on a bad note. He shouldn't have shot her in the first place. But, she lied and said I didn't get shot. Now it's getting turned over to something else. So,
if I could I just want to interject something. And it's not.
No, this is where the narrative building goes crazy. This is where the narrative building goes crazy. Right, hold on, let me play ball real quick. I was trying to do something, but in the back.
And it's to illuminate, and forgive me, today I'm not I am under the weather. It is to illuminate a point. You know, I've been in a situation where I was being attacked by a Black man, and the situation turned quite violent. And when it was asked upon me why I didn't call the police or why I didn't get the police involved, the first thing that ran through my mind is that this man was at such a heightened fever pitch in his aggression towards me and his demeanor that I instantly thought, if I call the police and the police show up and see him as a Black man at this level of anger and violence, that he would be killed. So
all right. So right there, personal story. Okay. Somebody gives a personal story. You technically can't argue with your personal story. You can technically look at everything else that you've ever heard this person say and then come to a conclusion that, well, of course she's biased. Of course she's going to have a biased story to pull out. Like I could nitpick that and call that part a lie. But at the end of the day, if somebody has a personal story of something that happened, then that's what the hell. Then you know, you could either believe it or not believe it. This is where the problem comes in when she starts extrapolating that to the rest of Black women and the rest of the Black community, even though I have every reason to question the validity of what she's saying, but she's going to extrapolate it forward. And that's where the problem comes in.
Black man at this level of anger and violence, that he would be killed. So I think what we don't consider is how many times Black women are in situations that are quite violent at the hands, not that they can't be at the hands of other men, because this always becomes a point whenever I talk about the femicide rate for Black women being every 5 to 5.5 hours, Black women are being murdered. That is a disproportional rate to any other group of women who are being murdered, most of them at the hands of their partner, domestic partner.
Whenever they quote that stat, they never say the full stat. Not that this makes it any better, but roughly 4 Black women are killed per day. Other women, it's 3. Okay, that one more there, that's bad. That's bad. And I'm not about getting in the race, in the victim Olympics race, but when it comes to being killed, it's like I'll save this point for later, because she's going to make more points about Black women and the danger that they're in of being killed. And she tried to make a comparison, even when it comes to cops killing. And I don't spend that much time talking about cops killing Black people, because I look at the data on that. 25% of the people that they kill are Black. I don't know how low that number should be. Some could argue that it should be the population percentage at 13% of the male population. One could argue that, but when 50% of the murders are coming from that group, I don't know where that number should be. But either way it go, it's going to come a time in this conversation where she's going to pull out Breonna Taylor and basically try to say that we talk about men getting killed by the cops more than Black women getting killed by the cops, because they get killed by the cops at such a disproportionate rate compared to women. Men get killed at such a disproportionate rate compared to women. Women, even though, 3 a day or 4 a day, it sounds like an awful lot. But when you run the numbers on how many men get killed per day, per hour, it's not even close. It's not even close. So she's talking about it gets goofy, and you're gonna see why I said what I said here when she gets deeper into it, because she's going to be talking about it from the perspective as if women just walk around like that's one thing that feminists and they don't want to they talk a lot about how at risk they are of attacks or this or that, and it's some weird stats that rub them the wrong way, that even though I'm more equipped to protect myself and I'm more equipped to defend myself from being attacked or being mugged by a man, the fact of the matter is men get attacked and men get mugged and men get killed. And you're going to see in this conversation, men get killed at a much, much, much more disproportionate rate to women. Okay, Nate just put out the stats on me. It's 600 to 700 Black women per day. She should shut up. Yeah. But what you're going to see in this conversation, Nate, she doesn't make a distinction, but I'm just giving y'all a little teaser trailer. She doesn't make a distinction between the black man that pulls the trigger and the black man who's dead. She just see two niggas. She's going to start talking, and she's going to be looking at it in damn near in the same way that they say that white people or white cops or the white or the justice system looks at it. If you just two niggas had a scuffle, one of them got shot, one of them dead, one of them in jail. Oh well, end of. Like she's going to demonstrate in this conversation that she don't even view the black male victim as a victim. So it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. But in a community that makes up 13% of the population and make up 50% of the murders in this country, it statistically makes sense that black women would get killed at a higher rate than other women, but for it to just be one more, that shows that black women are not the target of those killings. If you understand what I'm saying. If black women were the target of these killings, like she's about to try to lay out the case for, then that 50% of the murders the 50% of the murders in this country that's taking place from that small minority group, then you would think that black women would be having double, triple, or quadruple the amount of murders per day, or get killed double, triple, or quadruple the amount per day than other women. But that's not the case. It's one more per day. So there's that.
We don't take in consideration how much consideration black women take as a partner. We don't take in consideration how much consideration black women take when they're in violent situations, especially with black men, to not only think about how they're going to protect themselves, but also how they're going to protect the man that is at that time their attacker or their aggressor. So I think there should be a lot more consideration about the mental state of a black woman whenever she's in a violent situation with a black man.
Now, she just sat here and tried to depict black women as essentially benevolent protectors of their attacker. That's how she just tried to depict that. And I told a personal story in my pre-record, and I switched some things around to try to protect the guilty, but I've seen it that you're more sooner to see. And I don't even have the exact data on this. You are more sooner going to see black women calling the police for no goddamn reason at all than what you're going to see them not calling the police to protect the person that's attacking them. I told a story of a woman that I know who called the police. Her current guy and the ex was having a conversation that was intense. It was intense. Wasn't necessarily going to get violent, but it was, it was an argument. But two men was handling it. She got on the phone and called the police and said the ex was there and he had a gun. He didn't have a gun. Like I know of that exact story. Said he had a gun, he didn't have a gun. Try to make sure the police come in a little bit more locked and loaded. And ready to go. So when she started talking about this, when she gave a personal story and I responded to it with a personal story of a situation that I know, I'm like, nah, miss me with that one. And in that same situation, the guy who was oh my goodness. I'm not even about to take the time to check and see if that's the real account. But normally when you see something like that, you're like, just in case, let me go check and see if that's the real account. Okay. I ain't even about to do it. I ain't even go check it. That same situation, the guy that she was with, all right? The guy that she was with, much later, when they weren't together, he's in his house, a house that she never lived in. She tried to gain entry into that house. He pushed her. So she couldn't, she was trying to barge her way into the house. He pushed her to create enough space to close the door. But because he pushed her, that was enough to call the police. He attacked me. And on the phone, she said, he has a gun. The same woman used the same playbook twice. Used the same exact playbook twice. To calling the police on a black man who had technically done nothing wrong. Yeah, it was a situation. It was an altercation. But technically nothing was done wrong yet. Technically no crimes were committed. But it was a situation. And she literally called the police on 2 different occasions and claimed that two different men had a gun. The same person also walks around wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts and participated in an event. Like, those are the type of things to where, like, when black men hear her try to paint this narrative about how black women are these benevolent protectors of their attackers, they just have so much love in their heart, to where even this man that's abusing them and beating them, they're they're trying to defend themselves. They're trying to protect themselves against this attacker, but they also have to protect the attacker to make sure that the police don't come and harm him. So they just gonna lay there and gonna just take the abuse. Like, bullshit. I've seen it, and here's the crazy thing. The thing that sparked this conversation that they're in is a story that more closely reflects the story that I just told, where some shit went down and the man was lied on and scapegoated and said that he was the gunman that pulled the trigger that shot her when he wasn't. I go back to what I said before. If this was a white person that did this, some shit would be burned down by now. But black women are asking black men and other black women to rally behind this person who's clearly putting a black man in the hot seat to potentially do 24 years. And we're being asked to rally behind it. And she's creating a narrative about how black women be in these situations with black men. They're just such benevolent protectors of the attacker. Meanwhile, if you've been in the belly of the beast, if you've seen it behind the curtain, and you've seen some of them with the mask off, hashtag not all, but if you've stepped on some grenades out there in the community, you've seen it. You've seen them throw the first punch, start a fight, and the man cause some type of injury or bruise to them blocking the punch. They'll call the police and show they bruises. Like, come on. Like, so for her to try to depict black women as just that meek and mild, and they're taking this abuse from a horrible man who they don't want to call the police on because they're fearful for what the police are going to do. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. We've talked about this plenty of times. Dirty folks, shout out to Dirty Folks. He called them for good fight promoters, where some shit go down and one of them end up dead and one of them end up in jail. Goons on speed dial. He show up, one of them end up dead, one of them end up in jail. And then when all the facts come out, you find out that she started the shit and he ain't even do nothing wrong. Like, come on.
Absolutely. And I want to actually get some clarity on that. Pierre, I'll definitely let you time. I just want to make sure I add in. Yeah. So I love to actually read Megan Thee Stallion because she did speak on this. So just to give a little bit of backstory. So she does describe the argument between her and Tory Lanez that happened inside the vehicle. First, it started about them being intimate with one another. Then it's got into their careers and them kind of going, head to head. She said at that point, that's when she could tell like things, switched for him. So this was her statement on why she didn't call or let the officers know, what exactly happened. So she said, at this time, we're at the height of police brutality. I felt if I said this man had shot me, they might shoot first and ask questions later. I don't feel safe in the car. I don't feel safe with the police. She then would add, first of all, in the Black community, in my community, it's not really acceptable to be cooperating with police officers. She also says, this whole situation in the industry is a big boys club. It's like I'm telling on one of y'all friends. Now you all are about to hate me. Pierre, I'm going to come to you because I know you wanted to add.
So after Yamanika told that story and painted that picture and sold that narrative that doesn't more accurately correspond with reality compared to the narrative of what actually happened in the narratives of, I mean, the truth of the story that I told, that I explained, that does line up more than that, more accurately with reality. You get a lot of black men in a circle and tell these stories. They'll tell the same thing. They'll tell the same thing. Now, like I said before, this isn't Black Female News Network where we advocate for the sisters. Like, no, this is just presented as just like a Black news network. You know, it's called Comedy Hype News. It's presented as a Black news network. But you can see after Yamanika told that story and sold and spun that narrative well, she told a personal story, but then she extrapolated it to everybody else. And once you do that, you've gone beyond a personal story. You're saying that this happens more prominently. This is more prevalent, more ubiquitous throughout the community than the opposite. That's what she essentially tried to sell. And then she doubled down on that with the fact, stats, and quote. Why do I keep pausing her? Why do I keep pausing her with her mouth wide open? Every time I pause her, I just catch her with her mouth wide open. Coincidence. And then they double back. They double back and double down and play the quote of her talking about the George Floyd thing. So again, it's presented as Black news, like a Black news network, but clearly their narrative is going in one direction. Like, for example, my show is called, shout out to Pablo who named my show. I didn't even like the name, but Pablo named it in his stuff, The Grown Man Hour. You know, this is considered a Black manosphere channel. I put it on the marquee. You know what I am. I don't pretend to be like this is just some impartial news and some impartial Black news network. You know what I am. You know what I am. But they can create something that operates sort of in the same vein, but just call it Black news. But it's operating in full counter and opposition to Black men and in favor of Black. You see the difference? You see the difference in what I'm doing, or what I'm explaining there, the subtleties in that. But all right, let me get to some super chats. Shout out to everybody that's supporting the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to JX Story to Tell. I already read that one. Charles Merchant in the building says, to be found, a 304 and a liar shines light on a witch. This is why the sisterhood hates the manosphere. Truth. Homegirl Yamanika about to be talking heavy about the manosphere. I love it. I love it. This is why the sisterhood hates the manosphere. Truth destroys her house of manipulative cards. Thank you for the super chat. Very well said, Charles Merchant. Deanie in the building says, I think Meg deserves justice if she was unintentionally shot, but this Yamanika person is so hateful and bitter. Like, damn, this was an awful defense. Okay. I mean, it's a weirdly worded statement given the facts of the trial that we understand right now. You think she deserves justice if she was intentionally shot? We're past the point of she deserves justice. It's like, no, she lied on this man. So you shouldn't be saying she deserves justice. No, it's not a she deserves justice situation. Her justice would have been got or at least en route, if it would have been accurately said that me and my friend got into a fight because I kept fucking men behind her back and we got into a fight about it and she reached and grabbed a gun and she shot it at me. And then a man came in and tried to wrestle the gun away and then he shot it in the air a few times to try to get us to stop. But in the midst of all that, I got shot. If she would have told that story, then we could have a conversation of, okay, she got into a fight, or actually she did some skanky stuff that caused that helped facilitate it, but that don't mean she deserved to get bullet fragments in her foot. So the person who reached for that gun and fired it, deserve to be locked up. She deserves justice. If that was established and the right person was on trial, then we could have a question about her deserving justice. But we can't have a question about her deserving justice when she got a man that she clearly lied on in the hot seat. That ain't it. Crazy Muse in the building says, why was her man so angry? Was her man just walking around raging because he was black, or was her tongue off the chain? See, now I don't go there with what you're saying right there, because if her story is true that a man was actually beating her up, then no, I'm not gonna get all into why. I'll get into the why if a man do like a one-time snap and just slap the shit out of chick. I might want to know what happened before the slap. But if it's a situation where he just full blown, I mean, we don't know what happened. I'll just say we don't know what happened. There are some men that just unlawfully, unwarrantedly just beat women. There are some men that do that, and we don't know what happened right there. So I'm not about to get into the whole, well, what was she doing or how did she cause it? We know the data on that. We know that most violence we know is bidirectional. And we know when it comes to unidirectional violence, when it comes to the relationships where there's unidirectional violence, we know that 66% of those is only the woman being violent. We know the data on that. So like I can have that conversation, but overall, if a woman just say that, no, without knowing no facts or details of the story, I'm not even going to break down that part. I'm not even going to break down that part or dig into that. That part, I take that part in stride and I just move on. I just take that part in stride and move on. There's a grain of salt element. I'm trying to get that off there we go. Yeah. And I always go back to this data. In all relationships, 84% of them is non-violent. Of the 16% where there is violent, that's that red Pac-Man portion on the big circle, 16% of relationships, there's violence. In those, of that 16%, 58% of that is bidirectional, and 42% of that is unidirectional. Unidirectional means only one person is being violent. Bidirectional means both people are being violent. And when it comes to those unidirectional violent relationships, that represents 42% of the violent relationships. The unidirectional relationships, the unidirectional violence in relationships, when it comes to that unidirectional violence, that means only one person whooping ass. Bidirectional violence means both people whooping ass. Unidirectional violence in a relationship, which makes up 42% of violent relationships, it shows that 66% of the time when it's unidirectional violent, it is the woman hitting the man and the man not hitting them back. And 33% of the time, it is the man hitting the woman and the woman not hitting him back. So it's very possible that her story could have failed in the 33%. Now, I will argue that it is statistically more probable. It is statistically more probable that that she falls in the bidirectional violent category. That's just a brute fact. It is statistically more probable that she falls over there. But based off the story she told, that if it was unidirectional, if it was unidirectional violence, then that's just one. Then hey, then okay, a man was hitting her, and she said she can call the police. Okay, cool. All right. All right. Shield bashing. All right, let's dig back into it. Oh, wait, no, I had one more super chat to read. Sir Tyson in the building says, this is such bull feces. Nobody calls the police. Yeah. That whole our community don't like to deal with the police. That's what happens after. That's normally what happened after a black man gets shot. Nobody wants to say what happened. It's keeping it real. Something happened to a woman. People tend to speak. People tend to run in and intervene. We don't like to deal with the police. That goes out the window. Women calls the police. Let's cut the bullshit. Nobody calls the police on black men more than black women. Yeah, I've been pointing that out for a while. When they try to pull out that whole, the Emmett Till situations, y'all saw the movie Rosewood, those type of situations, or a white woman said, he raped me, the whole, and then the whole town gets set on fire, who's making more false allegations against black men now? That's an unfortunate hard one to really deal with. That's an unfortunate, really hard one to now they have more narrative to use that they know is disingenuous. He said, this is such bull feces. Nobody calls the police on black men more than black women. Now they have more narrative to use that they know that this is disingenuous. Yeah, they have to use more narrative. My bad. Now they have more narrative to use that they know this is disingenuous. I think I got what you're saying there. But all right, let's roll.
Add to that as well. But I'd love to ask, do you think there's more of a loyalty that comes from black women, than what we see from black men? Because here's a case where, she was the victim and she said, hey, I even though I am the victim, I don't want to see this man get hurt, and the possibility of what we've seen with police brutality. Pierre, I'll come to you.
Yes.
It is interesting because Yamanika built the narrative. She quoted Meg to expand on that narrative. And then once they established those narratives, then she asked a question that's only predicated on if you believe the bullshit that was just said.
I love my black women. I've only been with black women. My baby mama's a black woman and my wife a black woman. So I love black women. But I can't believe you wouldn't tell me black women might need some therapy. Because what you're telling me is you're willing to take an ass whooping to save another guy who don't give a damn about you.
Pierre, you're doing it wrong. You don't accept the premise. You don't accept their premise. If you accept that premise, then they get to be victims. And then the fact that she's probably lying on this man is being ignored. So him accepting her premise is the problem. Him accepting her premise. He accepting the premise that one Tory shot her, and then he accepting the premise that they get abused and they don't call the police because they're trying to protect the man that's abusing them from the police. I completely reject the premise on that and have seen the opposite. Where the police is called when no abuse is taken. The police is called when they're the aggressor. The police is called and the police is lied to over the operators. Ooh. One of the times when the situation that I know of, changing some things around to protect the guilty, the situation that I know of, when a person called the police and lied and said he has a gun, the operator said, the operator said, telling us he has a gun, she said just like this, telling us he has a gun isn't going to make them get there any faster. She said it like that because it's almost as if she hears that so much to where she, just gave, she gave like a robotic programmed, I'm tired of you all calling and saying somebody has a gun when they don't. It's not we're going to get there at the same speed, no matter what. Our cars drive as fast as they drive. It's just telling us he has a gun isn't going to get us there any faster. It's like she said it almost like she was annoyed by being told that all the time. Like that's how it sounds. That's how it sounds. I was just like, ooh. Like that's legit bad. Like that's legit bad.
Guy shoots at you, and you want to be like, you know what? I don't want the police to hurt him. He's about to kill you, maybe. He's beating up Yamanika. Yamanika in a fight with somebody. He's beating her ass and shit. She got to fight and struggle with this dude. But then she will sit there and say, you know what? I don't want you to get hurt by the police. That man didn't give a damn about your life. And you're worried about his life? Really? Whatever you have children, do you just say, man, you're opening, you're letting the door be open for many an ass whooping. If he knows you ain't gonna call the cops on him, ass whooping is coming towards you. So I'm not a black woman, so maybe you black women can tell me more. Why are you willing to get your behinds whooped constantly to save a black man? Is it that great? He ain't willing about saving you. He may kill you.
Right. I'll tell you.
And I just want to point out that Pierre is somebody who accepts every female premise. I want to point out again, as I pointed out earlier in the show, the first time I ever did some content on him is when he had Ricky Smiley on there. And Ricky Smiley made a simple point that we all know and understand. He said, a lot of times it's not that the dad is a deadbeat or that the dad don't want to be involved. A lot of times the dad is trying to be involved, doing the work to be involved, and the mother is alienating the dad from the kids. And when Ricky Smiley said that to Pierre, Pierre was like, really? You think so? You know, that lets you know where Pierre is at. So yeah.
Exactly what's going on here. The problem is, and this is why I'm so vocal and I'm such a loud, big Bertha with one of my cats. Shout out to in the back. And I got two cats.
She referencing Kevin Samuels right there, just so you know. She should probably meant to say Big Shirley. Hey, I remember when I was clowning them earlier, how those people, who the comedians who all they got to live on is what they did in the 90s. You see Baps right there behind them. You see that Players Club. I don't even know what movie that is right there with those dollar signs. I can't even tell which one that is, but they put in frames the glory days. They poke high 4 touchdown days. They put that behind them. Like I recognize him more now as a comedian. If you would have asked me, was he in Players Club? I would have said, I don't know. I would have had to really think back. Oh yeah, he was in there. I don't give a shit that he was in Players Club. Why the hell he got that up right there? At least I think that's, I mean, not Players Club. How to Be a Player. How to Be a Player. Look how he got that shit up. He got, and Vivica Fox had the same thing. I mean, no, Lisa Ray had the same thing. She had the Players Club poster behind him. She had the Players Club poster behind her and her setup. It's like the last time that they was anything worth a damn, they put it up. They put up their glory days. They still trying to relive and capture it. Like, damn. I didn't even know he was in them damn movies. I recognize him more as just I've seen him do some comedy before. Comedy wasn't bad. Like, I mean.
Because there is a time in which Black women are sort of indoctrinated into this idea that we need to be loyal. And I do believe that Black women, to answer the question, we are disproportionately more loyal to Black men than Black men are loyal or protective to Black women. Mm-hmm. Black men divest out of the community are loyal. To answer the question.
Yeah, hold on real quick. Notice how she used a lot of these Black YouTube terms. Divest. That wasn't a normal word. It wasn't. Like nobody used to say divest until basically damn near a divestment sphere came into existence. And that sphere, I think one of the chicks' names, I don't know if her channel was called Divested Zealot or something. I forgot what it was called. All I know is that her avatar was like a picture of a Black man hanging from a tree on one branch, and on another branch it was a Black woman on a swing, just swinging, just living her best life. Like, I find it peculiar. I find it peculiar that she's using their language. She uses a lot of Black YouTube, Black social, basically Black YouTube language.
We are disproportionately more loyal to Black men than Black men are loyal or protective to Black women. Mm-hmm. Black men.
She's trying to say that black women are more protective to black men than what black men are protective to black women. I remember I just saw something. It was so funny. I was about to do content on it. It's so funny how so much stuff that it rolls by right in front of you and you don't really see it, you don't really notice it. I saw a little small piece of, y'all remember the movie Soul Food, right? Y'all remember damn, was his name Slim, and the chick named Nia Long character name was Bird. I think her husband that was played by Mekhi Phifer name was Slim. When he was trying to get that job, he was trying to get a job, and she went to one of her exes that was high up in the company, and her ex got her, she tried to get her ex to get her current boyfriend or fiance a job or something like that, which was horrible, which was wrong, which was disrespectful. But if she thought she could do it on the sneak without him knowing, all right, whatever. He got hired. She don't say nothing. The ex don't say nothing. And he just like, hey, baby, I got a job. That was her plan. Okay, fine. When I went and rewatched that, it made me realize, and it's going to circle back to this whole thing. It made me realize just how wrong she was. Because blue pill, you don't see it. Red pill, you see it. I'm like, wait a minute. She accepted a date just going out. Well, we just had to go out. We just went out to dinner. Like, why you got a new bracelet on? He just bought me a bracelet. And it's like, and I'm saying, like, this woman was depicted as the protagonist in the movie. And I'm like, that was some trifling skanky shit. And then he went off on her and cussed her out. He didn't beat her up. But he, cussed her out so bad. And like, she was like coming towards him and like he pushed her back or something like that. And she started crying. And I think he broke some shit in the salon where it all happened at. Now, this is the part where it relates to, okay. Emmett Perry is saying she was smashing. That was the unwritten words in there. If she agreed to go out to dinner with him and accepted the gift, she accepted the gift. Like, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. She accepted she accepted a bracelet and she's sitting there rocking it. Like, what the hell? But where it got worse is that her other sister, Terry, who was the lawyer, the one with the money, guess what she did? She called up, and some of y'all remember this movie. She called up cousin Nuck them and told them that Slim beat up Bird and basically go fuck him up. But then she told him, hey, by the way, no guns, don't bring any guns. As if they about to go pull up on a dude, as if after like as if they about to pull up on some dude to beat him up, and they don't know if he packing. So they just gonna come completely unarmed. Like, yeah, right. So they pull up in there to beat him up. That was Vanessa Williams' character. Those were simp enforcers. Yeah, see where I'm going with this. I just watched that, like when I saw that, all that breezed right by me, and I thought Bird and Terry just made some innocent little mistakes. But I was watching this shit like, whoa. She basically cheated on him. He caught her, and then he snapped and went off, but didn't hit her. But the sister assumed he hit her. Then she had cousin J Rock Nuck them pull up on him, and then through that altercation, I don't know exactly. I can't remember exactly what happened. He had priors, so he had been living clean. That's why he was broke, trying to get a straight regular job, and he had finally got one. But I think well, this is where he probably was stupid. I think after because he had like kind of beat the dudes up, but he had ended up pulling a gun out on him, or pulling a gun was involved. I forgot exactly how it was involved, but either way it go, he was on probation while it happened, so he getting locked back up. And now think about scenarios like that. Even though it's just a movie, even though it's a fictional scenario, that happens where one, she did some trifling shit where it wasn't written into the plot, but a story like that is she was fucking an ex who had money, or broke man that she had to use the ex to get a job from. I mean, come on, like she was trying to smash the ex who was high up in a position to get to her current dude a job, and she accepted a gift from him, a bracelet. That she might as well have been fucking him. Her trifling shit that she did, and then the other sister, Terry, Vanessa Williams' character, called in the goons to come get him. These women are unprotected to where in a situation that they caused through some skankiness, resulted in them being able to call up somebody that they know to come fuck somebody up. And then after all the fucking up took place, the guy still ended up arrested and now going back to jail. So you got goons on speed dial, and you got the police that's going to be charging the fuck out of somebody. You got the legal system that's going to be charging the fuck out of somebody. Like, that's protection on top of protection on top of protection, but they are unprotected. They're unprotected. They got people that they misuse the police and will say somebody got a gun that don't got a gun. Like, you'll see shit like that happen. But they'll call the police in a heartbeat in a second. They'll call up the goons on speed dial in a second. In the situation where they will call up the goons on speed dial or the police or whatever the hell happened to cause the police or the goons to get involved, it quite often be a situation that they facilitated and engineered. And that shit, it was put in the movie right in front of our face, but we were just had the veil over our eyes to even see that, goddamn, these main characters, these dude called Bird Cola, yeah, because everybody was, yeah, because of her shape. No doubt. That's the thing. It's like, that was like right in front of our face, and we didn't see it, and we chalked that up to Bird was just trying to help her man do a job. She did get a job. She did some questionable by going to the ex, but she wasn't really trying to, do nothing wrong there. She was just trying to help out her family. Oh, Terry, the one who called the goons, she just made an honest mistake. It happens that she could have got this man killed who ain't do nothing wrong. But he the villain getting put in the back of the police car. I was like, wow. I'm sorry I had to take that detour. But I just watched that clip. I was about to do a whole show on it, but I just figured I'd smuggle it into this show because it kind of relates.
Men divest out of the community at a disproportionate rate to Black women. You'll be hard.
You can't make an argument that Black women divest, using Black YouTube words, can't make an argument that they divest out of the community less when all the data shows that they are the least wanted, the least chosen, the least desired. All the data from the dating apps shows that they are the least likely to be swiped on, and they're more likely to respond first or message first. And they're least likely to be, like the data shows that, like, the least desired can argue that they're the most loyal. I'm sorry. It's a bad argument. It's a bad argument. Just to skip to the end on that. It's a bad argument.
Press to find Black women who are looking at the stats of just available Black men who are healthy, not in prison, not on drugs, not doing this, and say, maybe we should open our options out to other men of other races.
Are you kidding me? She said you'll be hard pressed to find that. It's a whole goddamn it's a whole goddamn industry dedicated to that, to looking at the stats and how bad things are for Black men and whether or not Black women should explore other options. I mean, come on. Like again, it's all narrative with her. It's all narrative.
It's hard for Black women to do that. Black women still haven't done that. That shows our loyalty.
Look at this nigga nodding. He nodding his head.
Also know that we have been driven in our heads that we have to protect our sons. We have to protect our fathers. The police are killing.
Protect your fathers? I mean, protect your sons. Yeah, the parents should protect their children. Like, I mean, looking at some of the outcomes of Black girl, I'm talking about in high school, middle school, elementary school age, looking at some of the outcomes of Black girls and Black boys. I mean, I think you probably you seem to be doing more for your girls and neglecting the boys if we're really gonna keep it real. But that shouldn't be something that even should get brought in the conversation. We are taught that we're supposed to protect our boys. Yes, parents are to protect children. Like,
them, the police are abandoning them. We say Black men's names who have been killed by the police, so much so that we ignore Black women who have been killed by the police, so much so that we've had to create a campaign, go say her name, just to remind us to also talk about the Black women who have been murdered. So,
oh my goodness, the reason that the Black women that get murdered by the police don't get talked about as much, or it doesn't seem that you hear about it as often, because it doesn't happen as often. It doesn't happen as often. That's why. Like, that's literally the reason why it doesn't happen that often. Black men are killed by the police infinitely more than Black women. So the reason that we can name one or two names, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, the reason we can just name those one or two names, because it's one or two of them. Like, when it comes to Black men, like, I forget their names. Who was the guy that got killed in the apartment eating ice cream? What was his name? I can't remember. Like, we forget Black men's name because it goes viral enough with Black men getting killed by the cops too. And again, I'm not trying to win the race in the Victim Olympics, but when it comes to getting shot by the police, the Black men are remembered more because they've gotten more gold medals in that Victim Olympics. I mean, you remember the winners. I mean, that was fucked up. I shouldn't have said it that way, but that's simple. Okay, Botham Jean. Thank you. I couldn't remember his name. So there's that. Somebody said they feel for the cats. There's that. It's not that when it happens with Black women that it gets ignored. It's 3 Black women that I could think of. That one who got shot through the window of that house. What was her name? I can't remember her name. I never forget Sandra Bland and Breonna Taylor, but I can't remember the one that got shot through the window of her house when her door was left open and somebody just did like a courtesy call, like say, hey, it looked like this house might be broken into. That door is nighttime and this door just been swinging open for a while. Maybe some, yep. There it is. Okay, now I can't pronounce. That's why I don't remember it. Tatiana, I think. Should have just dropped the A. Just go Tatiana. But anyway, Tatiana Jefferson. All right. Yeah, I forgot her name. It happens to women infinitely less. The mere fact that she's trying to equalize it, cut it out. That is one theory. It is a crazy thing that happens now. When Black people commit suicide, one of the effective ways of committing suicide is hanging yourself. But given our history, whenever a Black person hangs themselves, Black people immediately are going to assume foul play. We were talking about the anti-lynching bill that we don't need because it's illegal to stab somebody in the heart. It's illegal to stab somebody to death. We don't need an anti-stabbing somebody to death bill. Long as murder is against the law, it covers stabbing somebody to death. That's why you don't need an anti-lynching bill. That was just a stupid symbolic victory. However, when we were talking about the last time somebody was lynched in this country, somebody brought up there were 7 lynchings in such and such, recent times, and it's a good chance it was a suicide. It was a good chance it was a suicide. I actually know somebody who tried to kill themselves. It's a sad story. This person suffers from depression. Haven't talked to this individual in a while. Hopefully she's fine. But back in the day, when she was 20, she said she tried to hang herself and a rope broke. If she would have succeeded, she would have been found hanging, and somebody would have assumed that somebody would assume she got lynched. So that is, given our history, if somebody uses lynching, somebody uses hanging himself as a method of killing himself, then it's assumed that a lynching took place. So there's that.
Let's also understand that we are going into a new, very toxic environment of misogynoir. We have a lot of men who have, and this has been the influx of these Samuelites, these Kevin Samuel men who constantly.
Kevin Samuels still got her triggered from the grave. Hold on. Y'all can't see this. What is that right there? What is that right there? She got pictures of her cats up. She got pictures of her cats on the wall like they family. Those are her children. Can y'all see that? That's why Kevin Samuels got her so triggered. She said these Samuelites. She's the big Shirley who got to get a dog and die alone. That's why she be so triggered. That man been dead for 6 months, and she he been, man. It's probably gonna close in on a year real soon. What was that, beginning of this year? She's still talking about it. She's still talking about it. Kevin Samuels still got them shook. Got them triggered from the grave. And she's sitting there, got her cats on the wall like her children. Oh my goodness. She got pictures of her cats. Wow. I didn't notice that until right now. Wow.
We have a problem with women constantly, these men who are, I'm going my own way, men who, a lot of men who have, and this has been the influx of these Samuelites, these Kevin Samuel men who constantly have a problem with women, constantly these men who are, I'm
Kevin Samuels, and let's keep this in mind. Kevin Samuels wanted men to be the best version of themselves, be successful, build themselves up, get their money right, and get married, even in the current laws, to step out there, get married, and step up. And his only request is that the women be worthy of it. That this man who built himself up and became high value, if he's going to risk it all, his only argument is, God damn it, be worth the risk. Be in shape, be fit, feminine, and friendly. Be pleasant to be around. And even then, you could argue, I obviously could argue that ain't even a fair exchange for, when you're talking about a man who really built himself up and built some resources that, you talk about a man, Kevin Samuels was talking about, I mean, that's why a lot of people didn't like many aspects of his marriage. He said so much real shit, and I supported his message. But at the end of the day, he was talking about men building himself up, being in control, and paying 100% of the bills and needs. But just because he said stop eating all the goddamn time, you got a problem with him. He was advocating for something that would lead to more women being protected, the type of protection you claim they don't have. He was advocating for something that would lead to more women being protected, but you got a problem with it because he said stop eating all the goddamn time. Like, listen to how fucked up that is. Listen to how fucked up that is. The type of interactions, she's gonna say, because she's gonna say later in this show, black women can't depend on black men, economically can't depend on them to provide. The man who was advocating for black men to provide, just women be worth providing for, by committing the act of not being big, bad, and belligerent. I just made up something with 3 B's. But that was it. That was pretty much the game. That was pretty much the game. But she got an issue with that. Like, he was truly advocating for really what a lot of them claim that they want. When you take away some of the fluff and the feathers, the end goal, he was advocating for something that they claim that they want. And only under just the stipulation that they be worthy of it. But when she do the rundown and say, okay, I'm not fit, I'm definitely not feminine, I'm a comedian that's not very friendly. Yeah, I'm one of the ones that got to get a dog and die alone. Therefore, this is misogyny.
I'm going my own way, and women are this. You have a problem with women constantly, these men who are, I'm going my own way, and women are this and this and that.
You see how she be heavy in this space? You see how she be heavy in Black YouTube? She just referenced MGTOW. Men going their own way. MGTOW. She just referenced MGTOW.
Women constantly, these men who are, I'm going my own way, and women are this and this and that. You got red pill niggas, you got manscale niggas. This like an uptick in the way that men vehemently hate women, especially Black women, continue to say that we don't take any accountability, continue to act like we are the problem and the scourge at all times, and also understand that Black women, in the attempt to reach Black men, to see where they're coming from, we are also now attacking one another.
Remember when I said that they are worse than the ADL? Any criticism of them, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, it is hate. They are the ADL. They are the Anti-Defamation League. Only difference is they're not in position to take away anybody's Nike deal. They're not in position to dissolve anybody's business contracts with Adidas. They're not in position to that's really what it is. But if they were in power, if they had that kind of power and pull, to where when Joe Budden got out of line and criticized Meg Thee Stallion, if they could basically dissolve, suspend, or get his podcast taken off the air to where he couldn't do it no more, they would. If they could find anybody who had a Black man who had something bad to say, like I mentioned earlier in the show about 50 Cent and Lil Wayne or whoever, they said something about they like exoticals or whatever. If they had the power to dissolve all their business contracts or their record deals or whatever they got going on, if after they say some shit like that, if some of these Black women was in the power of this, like the same power that the small hats had, they would have them dudes banned. Yeah, I can't be saying that. That's hate. They would do the same thing. They operate like the ADL. You say anything bad about them, that's hate. It's like they're gonna call it anti-Semitism. They're gonna say it's hate. They're gonna say it's hate, even if your criticism is accurate. Even if the criticism is accurate, it's hate. That's what she's doing right now. And she done brought up the manosphere, and brought up red pill, and brought up MGTOW, and brought up all of this stuff. All of this stuff because men are doing what? Like I'm doing today. I'm speaking. I'm countering their negative narratives towards Black men, as Black men just beating the shit out of Black women, and Black women are benevolent protectors of the attacker and don't even want to call the police on the man that's punching them in the face because they don't want the police to come and do something to their attacker. As if that's a thing, as if they not calling the police on Black men because the wind blew too hard. Like cut it out.
In hopes that we just, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So now attacking one another, men, to see where they're coming from, we are also now attacking one another in hopes that we just, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Now you see what she said right there. She said that it's a lot of Black women now attacking one another. We don't have no effect. We're not stirring the pot of society here. It is a lot of Black women. I understand side-eyeing the content creator who's coming up off of this kind of content, the female content creator that come up off this kind of content. I understand side-eyeing that. I'm not saying you're wrong for side-eyeing that. But what I am saying is that we're in a whole new climate right now, to whereas this would have happened 10, 15 years ago, it would be little to no public conversation about Meg is lying and saying that it would be believe all women before it was a hashtag. That's how it operated before. We've stirred the pot of society to where I can't just jump up and say anything and face no criticism or no scrutiny and get a man locked up. But that counterbalance, that pushback that we give, that have stirred the pot of society, that has changed the public discourse, she wants to call that hating. She wants to call that that she wants to call it misogyn war or being hateful. That's what she wants to do.
So let me say I think this is a great conversation. I'm really happy to be having it with both of you because I feel like both of you give the truth and a lot of insight to this. So Pierre, let me come back to you because I think you posed a great question. So let me ask this: do you think the campaign Protect Black Women hurts our community or helps our community more? And I'll try to explain that just a little more because as what you said, there's a strong loyalty that Black women have for Black men, and it's almost as if that slogan can be saying, hey, we want that exact same thing. Do you think that will hurt us more if we have such a strong loyalty where we're really willing to put ourselves in harm's way? And then also on the other side, I'll start there. It's so much. I'll start there. Do you think that the campaign Protect Black Women hurts us more, or what exactly is in that? Does it divide us more than it brings us together?
No. Black women deserve to be protected. That's the whole point. They should be protected, and you should be protected against Black men who are bringing violence to you also.
If you ask the question, if you, he's horrible at this. He's horrible at this. If the question on the table is about Black women being protected, if you ask the question, how and which way are other women protected? Some random single woman, put it like this: most women are protected from. They're immediately protected from the man that they're with, that they're in a relationship with, their boyfriend, their husband, and by extension, their brothers, their fathers, uncles, cousins, blah blah blah. That's how most women are protected. All right. I think we can clearly establish that Black women have that protection. Now, they have less of the first one when it comes to that husband or live-in boyfriend because they're the least married and they're the least partnered. And they file for divorce at extreme rates and the whole works like that. I mean, I don't got those stats ready to go on it, but either way it go. When it comes to it's like they think that when some shit go down that motherfuckers are supposed to just materialize in front of them or just fall from the sky like the SWAT and protect. Like, it generally does not work that way. For other women, the man in close proximity to them, the loved one or the man that loves them in close proximity to them is in most cases the one that's protecting them. If so, and even when in other communities, even if it's the man that she's with that's beating her up, it's typically not men from the neighborhood coming out with pitchforks and tiki torches and dragging him out and beating him. Normally that protection is going to come from the police. Normally that's how it works. Normally women are protected immediately from the man that they're with. If the man that they're with is abusing them, then typically either the police will be called, or it will be a situation where somebody in the family, if not her herself, is going to call up the goons, and nobody has more goons on speed dial than Black women to call up and fuck somebody up. I can almost guarantee that it does not happen as much in the white community when Billy Ray then knock the shit out of Susan, that she call up her uncle or whoever or her dad, or that she's calling them up and they coming through there just busting heads. You don't see that. That for damn sure don't happen with the Asian community, where a bunch of Asian guys just come up in some damn Bruce Lee shoes and just start kicking the shit out of the Asian guy who hit their Asian niece or whoever the hell. That is not that happens more in the Black community, where somebody pull up locked and loaded, ready to go because they cousin, daughter, niece, whoever the hell said somebody hit me. That type of protection, they have that more than anybody. The line of protection that comes from the police, everybody in this damn country, every woman in this country has that. So it's like, when you look at where the protection is actually lacking, when you look at where it's actually lacking, it's typically lacking from not being partnered. That's where it's lacking. not being partnered. And most of that is a feeling of being safe, because typically you're not going to have to whoop. So the guy that you're with is not going to have to be, defending you against lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, it's more just that feeling of being safe to know that you just got him there and you feel safe with him being there. But when you look at the reasons why black men and black women aren't together, and that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation why black men and black women aren't together. And they try to frame that as, well, they just walking out on us, or they just abandoned us. They just leaving. They leaving us. They walking out on their families. I'm like, did he leave you and the kids, or did you leave him and take the kids with you? It's like, so that's where that's where the problem come in. You're not unprotected. You're I would say you're protected at the same level of other single women. You're protected at the same level of other single women. That's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is. Unless you can show me that there's a man who's with a woman who just consistently got people just running up in the house in the middle of the night, and then he go hide in the attic while they bust her head or something else. Yeah, like, come on.
So, and you should have the mindset to say, hey, man, I get protecting a black woman want to protect a black man, but in certain scenarios, not when you whooping your ass and shooting at you. Come on now, if he's like, I'm making up, maybe he's done something illegal and the cops come in, and you might want to make sure after he is at your house, or you may stand up for his personality on the court, on the stand. I get that, but if a black man is bringing violence to you, and you're a black woman, all that loyalty need to get out the window. Now you can sit there and say what you want to about, now I got to stay with him. You ain't gonna shoot me and beat me up, and I'm gonna still say, no, I don't want to call the police. My arm's swollen up. It's a mindset. We gotta get rid of those guys. Those are violent men. They need to be in jail. Right?
This society does a whole hell of a lot to get rid of violent men, particularly men who are violent against women. Like, so it's like it turns into it becomes very redundant, because I can't think of nothing that could technically be done more to like we just talked about. Like we just talked about a number of times. We could break down the Duluth model. We could break down so many different things on how, if there's an aggressive situation, it's viewed as always the man's fault, even when it's not his fault. The man is always going to be removed from the house. The man is always going to be the one who will get locked up. The man is always going to be the one who's on trial. Through all that fuckery that went on, Meg Thee Stallion knew that he needed to blame a man to make sure that all the bullshit that was going on with her and Kelsey and with the gun and everything that get overlooked. Let me just put it on a black man. Like, it turns into a situation where it gets redundant if you're talking about dealing with the problematic men to protect the women more. How are they not being held accountable? How are they not being held in check? How are they not being arrested enough? How are they not being prosecuted enough? And then when you average into the equation that the police gets called for no goddamn reason sometimes, when you average that into the equation, and I'm not even going to retell my the personal story that I told, how they be on some he has a gun when he doesn't. Yeah, the story just went viral recently. I forgot who it was, where some chick was like, he's following me around the house and he has a gun, and he was just sitting there on his phone recording, chilling, and didn't have a gun. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But Eric Bird in the building with the $5 super chat, I do appreciate that. Like, we just can't sit here and pretend like they ain't Amber Hearding and shit. Like, we can't sit here and pretend that. Christian Hutchins in the building said Meg Thee Stallion career is headed to the glue factory. That's a joke that I didn't get. I wouldn't have got that joke if I wasn't talking to Christian in person in Detroit, where he basically explained dead horses, they make glue out of them. I didn't know that. So yeah, he's saying her career is headed to the glue factory. I'm not so convinced. I think she's still going to have a career. Of course it's not the same. Said this is not the same as Amber Heard. Of course it's not. Two different situations. But one thing is true, that a woman did lie on a man. Then that way is similar. The ways that is different is that one of them, it was lies about ongoing domestic violence and somebody shitted in the bed and they were white. And in the other situation, it was one quick, fast, quick, immediate lie about a man shooting a woman, of which he didn't. But the similarities is the woman went to the media and went public and put it out there that this man did something that was later proven that he didn't do. And the woman tried to leverage the believe all women, the unprotected, like in Amber Heard's case, she tried to she spoke at Me Too rallies and talked about, she spoke at, anti-violence against women rallies. Meg Thee Stallion put up the black woman, the most unprotected. They both use media apparatus and slogans to try to sell their narratives, ideas, and notions that it was an evil man that did this horrible thing to a woman. Let's protect women. But in reality, it was some bullshit. It's similarities. It's obviously similarities that I think everybody in here understands, to the point to where it makes no sense to say this is not Amber Heard. When you do that, it make it look like you. Thank you for just putting this simple. Point is, women be lying, and they will put a man in that hot seat. Any man will do. Sort of like when that movie Hurricane, when with Denzel Washington, where they were looking for two black men who supposedly committed a crime. The police went to Denzel Washington and his friend, and they was looking for two black men who supposedly committed a crime. And Denzel Washington said, "Well, will any two do? Any two will do." He was asking because basically they got charged with it. So if you're looking for, so it's like with them, when they get on that lion, it's like, yeah, they're gonna put a man in that hot seat. Any man will do. Yep. Well, let's get somebody. Let's stick a man in that hot seat. That's what I'm saying. And that's the way that it's similar. That's the way that it's similar. But thank you, Christian, with that. Hold on, wait. F. Terry says, men lie, women lie, and life goes on. Okay. Life doesn't go on if somebody's on trial and facing 24 years. Life just doesn't go on. Christian Hutchins said her career is headed to a glue factory. Yes, they use dead horses to make glue. A small bit of irony in there for women who glue weave in their hair. They're putting horse hair in their head, and the glue that they're using came from dead horses. Circle of life. All right. Let's go.
They need to be in jail where other good men on the street can get an opportunity to get with a good woman who's taking that abuse and shouldn't be taking that abuse. So that's how.
Yeah, Yamanika, let me phrase that question to you as well. And I want to, because like I said, this is so much, right? There's so many layers to this. There are just so many facts, so many things that we're still waiting to unfold. But Yamanika, let me bring that same question to you. The campaign Protect Black Women, do you feel that like it's been hijacked a little bit to kind of divide us, as opposed to, bringing us together, which is what I feel like that's what it was created for?
Hijacked by who to divide us? If anything, it's been hijacked by Meg. She tried to weaponize it. She tried to. This is what I be talking about. Meg Thee Stallion tried to weaponize the phrase "protect black women" while trying to get a black man locked up for something that he didn't do. But look how she's soft-shoed, pussyfooting around on that. Has this term "protect black women" been hijacked in a way to try to divide us? As if, like, what the hell?
Or, hey, we're seeing this divide. Let's come together to protect one another. So, do you think it's been hijacked? And if so, do you think it should be more so of like protect us as a people, as a community, as opposed to, because it seems to be dividing us. And now, in this case with Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion,
it's dividing to the extent that it's dividing us. It's because the woman who you're defending, who you created running a biased show to defend, weaponized it against a black man to get him locked up for something that he didn't do. Damn.
Nobody's focused on the truth anymore. Everybody's focused on, hey, if you take Tories, you don't like black women, or if you take Megan, you don't like black men, and it seems to be more a divide than a bringing together. What are your thoughts, Yamanika? I love to.
Damn.
I know it's
a damn near attempted murder trial typically is not going to bring people together. Like how is that even a question? That like this? How is this supposed to be bringing somebody together? It's like she's just stepping right over that landmine. She's stepping right over that landmine. That Megan Thee Stallion in damn concert on BET or MTV or wherever the hell that concert was, might have been the goddamn Grammys for all I know. She came on stage and had the Malcolm X quote playing in the background. The black woman is the most unprotected woman in this country. So while twerking on a bad foot with bullet fragments in it. Female empowerment.
I understood you. I understood you, Symphony, and it is complicated, and it's unfortunate that a lot of times the things that happen in the media, they also have to be an example of what is happening on the lower surface of our community, because this is. Let's not forget Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez and their public figures, and there's a whole other circus that's happening there. But I think that we keep saying protect black women because it was surprising to me. I'm not listening. I don't know. I didn't know Tory Lanez before this. I'm sorry. I wasn't really into whatever he was doing. And Megan Thee Stallion, she was giving me the waps and what I like. And I understood as soon as I saw Megan, because I understand her and I understand what black women like that who are powerful and strong and who are telling motherfuckers to back up. And I understand that comes from women who have been beaten down. That comes from the type of woman who has been I'm not listening. I don't know. I didn't know Tory Lanez before this. I'm sorry. I wasn't really into whatever he was doing. And Megan Thee Stallion, she was giving me the waps and what I like.
Megan Thee Stallion, she was giving me the wipes. See, the closed caption couldn't even pick up what she said. I tried to put the closed caption on. I don't know what she said. Megan Thee Stallion was giving her something. Was giving her I don't know. She said Megan Thee Stallion was giving me the something, and she did a little dance. I can't even tell what she said.
I'm not listening. I don't know. I didn't know Tory Lanez before this. I'm sorry. I wasn't really into whatever he was doing. And Megan Thee Stallion, she was giving me the whip waps and what I like. And I understood as soon as I saw Megan, because I understand her and I understand what black women like that who are powerful and strong and who are telling motherfuckers to back up. And I understand that comes from women who have been beaten down. That comes from the type of
women who are powerful and strong and telling motherfuckers to back up. That comes from women who were beaten down. You see how they are taking the victim narrative and the victim Olympics and running a mile with it and talking about a woman, the empowerment and strong. I mean, before she got shot, she was known for WAP. She was known for rapping, dancing, twerking, rapping about her allegedly wet ass pussy. That's what she was known for. That gets to get talked about as female empowerment and coming from a struggle and abuse and this or that or blah, blah, like. I mean,
a woman who has been, she's a big girl, she's tall. We have to remember that in the black community, and black men will say it themselves. All you got to do is look at the comment section for comedy height. They'll tell you 100 different ways why I don't need to be protected and why I don't deserve a man, because I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm old, I ain't got this, don't no man want me. Like these men categorize what protection is for black women based on vanity and aesthetics. And unfortunately,
All right, there's a certain level of trolling that goes on in the chat room, in the comment section, when it comes to what a woman deserves or doesn't deserve. The how she looked, the vanity and aesthetics has something to do with maybe the quality of a man, meaning his level of success and all of that, or how he look, or his level of success, or mostly his level of success. That has something to do with that, whether or not she deserved to be protected. She say a lot of stuff that would lead a man to just walk on by whistling if you see her getting her head bust. Okay, fine. But overall, I mean, if her fat ass get with a fat broke dude and then somebody break up in their house at night, then he should definitely jump up in front and protect her. That's just so I don't play that game and say you don't deserve to be protected. But when she started talking about because she's had some stuff to say about black men and money and this or that or blah blah blah, and that's why she hated Kevin Samuels, because he was the one teaching that men make the money that she make. They not gonna want her. They shouldn't want her. They should get a younger, hotter, thinner, fitter, friendly, more feminine woman, and that's why she hated him, and that's why she in here with pictures of her cats up like her children. So if the comment section is hitting her hard on that when she's in those conversations, talking about men and talking about Kevin Samuels and talking about money and talking about how she came, because I've heard her literally have the conversation about how she can't find a man on her level. That's where all of that what you actually deserve comes into play. But no, I mean, no woman necessarily don't know. I mean, okay, there's a shout out to Chris Rock. There's a reason to put your old lady down a flight of stairs. You just shouldn't do it. But I can think of a reason why she deserve it. So I can think of plenty of reasons why a woman might not deserve protection. But I don't go there. I don't go there. Should she find, a relationship with somebody and that person is in a relationship with her for whatever reason, he ought to protect her. If she finds herself in danger, and she should be able to call up some loved ones to come help her. Nobody is saying she don't deserve that. If she's in danger and she calls the police, and the police should come and do their job, all the same. So I don't play that game of trying to argue that, a woman, doesn't deserve the basic bare minimum protection. Now, when they go to doing stuff and putting themselves in situations like, I don't know, fucking your best friend's guys behind her back, and then y'all get into an argument about it at a pool party, and then y'all get to fighting and throwing blows at each other, and y'all created that whole situation in that scenario when somebody didn't grab the gun, and then the man who jumped in and tried to intervene and take the gun is from y'all, so y'all don't kill each other, is on trial. Yeah, that's a situation right there where I'm like, fuck your protection. He should have let Kelsey shoot you. Those are the situations where I will have a discussion about somebody not deserving protection. But if somebody just said, you fat, you don't deserve to be protected, I don't go that far. I know some Game Changer might go that far. I don't go that far. Somebody, if some fat ass broke dude is with her and somebody run up in their house, he should jump up and protect if that's his woman. But don't let it be your woman. There's that.
This culture that Kevin Samuels created, whereas post-war with your over 25, protection is for Black women based on vanity and aesthetics. And unfortunately, this culture that Kevin Samuels created, where
you can't bring up Kevin Samuels in the midst of that. I remember Kevin Samuels did a stream where he basically said, he didn't say high value, but this was right before he started driving the high value stuff home. He was saying CIA men protect. That was what did he call it? What is RM? You remember what does CIA stand for? I know it's intelligent and assertive. What did the C stand for? What did the C stand for? Shannon Rawls in the building. It's saying you must have switched debit cards or something, because I know you was already a member. But shout out to Shannon Rawls in the building. Confident, intelligent, and assertive. Yeah, he said confident, intelligent, and assertive men. Confident, intelligent, and assertive men. protect. Kevin Samuels was about men protecting women. He was. He was. Lil Big Nate says, Bernard Riley. Boy, I don't know if I like the title, because I know you enough to know that you're being provocative with that title. There's an asterisk there, because I know you think that some women deserve protection. I have issues with the whole concept of protection, because really what they're talking about, they're not even talking about protection. They're talking about reaction. They're not lacking protection. They're not complaining because they don't have protection. They just saying they want more reaction in viral videos. That's really what they're saying. The few videos that go viral when a woman get her head bust and a man don't come running, then that's where they talking about that's where the lack of protection comes in. But we know for every one video that happens, it's a bunch of video. The majority of the videos, what you're going to hear is, "Hey, that's a female," and guys going to come run and attack, whether or not she was in the wrong or not, whether or not she just slapped the shit out of a man, mushed his head, spit on him, and then when she get thrown across the room or bus driver uppercut it, "Hey, that's a female." Like, we know that and we see that. So I mean, that's so. But in the videos where nobody intervenes and it goes viral, that's where they say that they're not protected. That's where they say that they're not protected. But I argue that they're protected at every level. The only level where they lack some protection is the feeling of safety that you get when you have a man that you're committed to and attached to at the hip, that you live with, that you sleep in the bed with every night. It's a CIA. Not confident, intelligent, assertive, but no, Cankles in an ambulance. Cankles in ambulance. Wow. Oh my goodness, that's funny. The Cankles in ambulance. Oh my goodness. But yeah, the protection piece, it's a weird thing. Like I was saying, if you're a woman in this country and you're single, you don't have a man, you sleep by yourself every night, you don't have, or other than if you got some hookup coming through, you're going to feel that feeling. You're going to feel that feeling of not being safe when it's bumps in the night or something bumping and rumbling and rambling outside. You're going to feel that feeling of not being safe. If you're a single mother and you didn't work it out with the dad, and now you're raising these kids by yourself, particularly daughters, y'all are going to go to bed at night not feeling as safe. Some people look at that and then they turn around and say, well, okay, well, why are black men walking out on their families? Like I always say, did he leave you and the kids, or did you leave him and take the kids with you? That's what I always say. That's what that comes down to. That's what that comes down to. We know in the majority of divorces, after I've talked to a couple of lawyers on this, including the lead attorney, he said most of the time in a divorce, a man is going for 50-50 and that woman is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that he is an every other weekend dad. To make sure that he gets his kids Wednesday from 5 to 8 and every other weekend. That's what she's fighting tooth and nail for, to make sure that he basically gets the privilege and honor of being an uncle dad while sending her money. That's what they fight for. That's what they fight tooth and nail for, even if the dad is offering the ultimate child support of 1 week with me, 1 week with you. No. You're uncle dad and I want a check. And that's what they fight for in those situations. So when that's what they're fighting for in those situations, then it's like, so they're limiting the amount of fatherly protection that the kid is going to have, increasing the number of overnights that they're going to be only with the mom who's single, and there and yeah, and you don't feel safe because you're single and you're not with the dad. I mean, black men and black women not getting along and not working out relationships, that has an issue. That is a number one factor of why they don't feel safe and why they feel unprotected. But the reality is I'm pretty sure they feel unsafe and unprotected at the same rate of other women, because other women, I would say other women at a lesser rate can call up people. Black women can call up people on a moment's notice to come in and do whatever they need done, even if the woman was in the wrong with it. If I was the police in a predominantly black area, I always point this out, in Detroit, Baltimore, Atlanta, greater than 50% black police force, black men overrepresented, and as far as their percentage in the military. You know, I always point out black men helped build this country, fought in every war for this country, are citizens of this country, and pay taxes to this country that fund the government, help fund the government of this country, that those funds are dispersed to pay for the police force. And in predominantly black areas, it's a greater than 50% black police force, which means that single woman, when she have a problem, is a greater than 50% chance that a black man is showing up to assist her. This overall system that we live in America, we put in on this. So that's why I'm like, unprotected not protected by black men. How? The only area where you lack it is that you being single and not being actively in a live-in relationship or marriage with a black man. And I don't when it and when we can get into the reasons why you don't got that, and then they don't want to get into those reasons, because then it circles, all roads lead back to Kevin Samuels, the name she just mentioned twice. All roads lead back to that, and then it get point out that you big, belligerent, and violent, and you're hard to deal with. Don't nobody want to deal with you. Don't nobody want to be with you. Don't nobody want to be bothered by you. Don't nobody you impossible to be in a relationship with. You boastfully talk about how you don't need no man. You disrespectful. You out here getting your big Shirley on. Yeah, you getting the dog and dying alone. All of that. But all right. How long are we in on this? I'm almost 3 hours in on this. All right, let me let this bad boy play.
There is post-war if you're over 25 or 30, if you got kids, unrealistic things that if you are a person living life, you probably will have children. You are going to get, everybody's getting older every day. So they become unrealistic things that women are now trying to figure out.
He's talking about your sexual market value and whether or not you can qualify to get the type of man that you're saying that you want, the type of man that you say you'll finally submit to. That's what that discussion was about, whether you're post-war over after 30 or you got kids. And yeah, being overweight over 30 with a couple kids by a couple men, that does decrease some of your options on the dating market. That's what the fuck he was talking about. He wasn't talking about whether or not you deserve to get beat up or not.
Go against these things that are natural to me. I feel unprotected. So more women are being vocal about. So they become unrealistic things that women are now trying to figure out. I can't go against these things that are natural to me. I feel unprotected. So more women are being vocal about feeling unprotected, especially in the Black community, because Black women are going to feel it the most because we are a part of a marginalized community. And then the women in that community also feeling marginalized is a double down. We also have to understand that people exploit Black women and Black women's plight. You know, we just had this situation with Trevor Noah when he closed his show out, thank Black women, right? And there was a big hoopla about that. And people were complaining, oh, Black women are never happy. He thanked Black women. Look how ungrateful Black women were. And while on the one hand, I appreciate Trevor Noah taking the time to say thank you to the Black women, it was the way in which he presented how he understood Black women were showing up in his life as a support system, as his mama, as his auntie putting Vaseline on his face, cleaning him up, supporting him, telling him he's loved, standing in the gap for him, but never in, oh, this Black woman that I love, that I had as my partner, who I find romance in, who I find beauty. So we continuously look at Black women.
Trevor Noah, in his last day on the Daily Show, when he was thanking everybody, he did a special thanks for Black women, got teary-eyed about how much Black women mean to him and said things. If you want to know what's going on in America, you ask a Black woman. They'll tell you. They'll tell you the truth. Black women, he basically said the Black woman is God, and she's still saying it ain't enough because he didn't mention that he was personally in a relationship with a Black woman that he loves. Well, maybe maybe it just might be the case that even though he appreciates his mother and aunties and everybody that loved him, and he's far on the left, he's a male feminist, so he appreciate all the social movements and everything that's involving Black women and all that. Maybe he just ain't found one that know how to act like she got some damn sense in a relationship. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe it's a possibility. You know. It's a possibility, but I mean, after he basically got down on his hands and knees and kissed the ass of Black women as a collective group, and she's complaining about that.
That we are supposed to be the pillars holding up everybody, and no one is there to hold us up. We are supposed to accept oppression from everyone, be there for everyone, and then when it's time for us to cry or be vulnerable or to be treated like women, nobody expects us to want to be treated like women. And then they wonder why there is a culture of Black women who are outspoken, who are independent, who have decided to take care of themselves. Because we have to also understand that we are a part of a community. As much as these Black men want to say whatever they say about Black men doing this and doing that, our community is marginalized. We are not economically showing up in the system. We are not socially showing up in the system. We are still economically and socially disenfranchised. So imagine if Black men are having a problem doing what Black men need to do, or feeling like they're moving forward in the structures of the community or amongst races in society. Imagine how Black women are feeling, not being able to be protected by the men in their culture. We can't depend on them to be providers for us. We can't depend on them for anything.
I was waiting for this part, and I'm glad I made it this part before I had to end it, because I throw some things back to what, she brought up, the manosphere. She brought up Kevin Samuels a lot. And she said Kevin Samuels, there was reeked of a lot of misogyny war. But I remember, like, she just said we can't depend on them to be depend on them to provide for us and everything. But remember when I said she absolutely has an absolute disdain for Kevin Samuels. Even 8 months, 6-8 months from the grave, she's still triggered by him. A man who was basically saying that men should build themselves up, be providers, and pay 100% of the bills but it was under the condition that the woman, they should do that for themselves regardless, but the woman that they should do it for, that should benefit from it, she should be worthy of it. And these are the things that you got to do to be worthy of it. Fit, feminine, friendly. Don't be fat, don't be masculine, don't be an out-of-pocket bitch. That's pretty much it. Don't be a fat masculine, and disrespectful. She hates the man that was advocating essentially for the things that she's saying she want Black men to be. She just has a problem with the stipulation that that the women that the men be that way for, that the women actually qualify for it, and she knows she don't meet the qualifications or the requirements. She know that that train has left for her. That's the reason she got pictures of her cats on the wall. She know that train is left for her. So it's like she's throwing back poison in the well for the young women that got a chance. It's like that's essentially what's going on there. That's essentially what she's doing. That's essentially what's happening there. As far as what you're talking about the black community being marginalized and this or that, yes, there's a lot of things in the black community that the needle need to be moved on. Absolutely, absolutely. But as I always say, the black community getting built up more, or black men building more in the black community. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're talking about the black people, economically, as she said, I forgot how she worded it, being a blip on the radar or whatever. If she's talking about that, yes, that something does need to happen with that. The overall wealth in the black community is low as hell. The wealth of the average black family compared to the average white family or is low as hell. But that wealth can definitely that wealth increases with families. That wealth increases with two people working together. It does. But the group of women that boast and bask in the glory of being strong, independent, not needing no man, and able to do it by themselves, happen to be the least partner, least married women, and then now the overall wealth in the country is lower. The individual black man who roll his sleeves up and he can get money and get paper and all of that, that's no issue. But when you look at just the overall net of it as a whole, what you're talking about, black men not being able to provide, I've been saying it for like 2.5 years now. Hispanic and Latino men make less money than black men. However, their overall net worth, household net worth, is higher. Why? Because it's two people working together at a higher percentage rate than what it is with black people. They're buying, they're two people getting together, getting married, buying homes. They have a higher net worth. It's simple situations like that move that needle to where you can see a difference in the wealth economically. It's like it's situations like that simply move it. But what they're overall looking for, like how it really works, and I've said this a million times, the way it really works is that when the overall wealth in a community increases in a capitalist environment, it's not going to be some socialist situation where everybody is raised up equally. Basically, our rich is going to get richer and our underclass and working class will get a job and might make just a little bit more. That's about it. Just like how it'll manifest itself in the average white man making 50K, the average black man making about 40K. That 40K may increase to 45 or 47. That's pretty much how it's going to look. So whatever regular dude a chick qualified for now, she will qualify for that then. So if she can't get with it right now, if she can't get on board and act right now, and she won't do it then. So only thing is going to happen is we're going to have we'll have more billionaires and more millionaires and a bigger wealth gap in the black community, just like it's a big wealth gap in the white community where 1% of them own everything. That's essentially what it'll be. So if couples, relationships, families, and all of that don't work out, and then everything, the whole system fails in that regard. The whole system fails in that regard. And I ain't going past 3 hours on you Negroes. Let me make that very clear. I'm about to have to wrap this bad boy on up. Let me check some super chats.
Have such a large group of independent Black women who are getting their education, being entrepreneurs, buying their own homes, taking care of themselves. There's no protection and no.
This is okay. Yeah. This is where the bullshit come in, because she's basically, they believe their own press, and it's all narrative driven. Basically saying Black men not doing what they're supposed to do. That's why Black women are getting so educated, which they're not. Like I say, the stats all the time, they fall right in line where you would expect. When it comes to women, they're after Asian women, they're after white women, they're ahead of Hispanic women. When it comes to Black men education, they're behind Asian men, they're behind white men, they're ahead of Hispanic men. It's like that. They fall in line right exactly where you would expect them to fall. That is the case with their income. That is the case with their education. Entrepreneurship, the majority of the business that's made from Black businesses, the majority of that, close to 70% of it, comes from Black male businesses. Black women have a lot of LLCs. It's more Black female-owned businesses. That's not cool. Black men, we need to own more businesses, vertical businesses. But I keep having to break this down all the time. The businesses that they make up the majority of the business of the Black-owned businesses, but they make up like 30% of Black business income or Black business wealth. They're starting a lot of LLCs. But she's using that to weaponize it against Black men to say, y'all ain't doing y'all part, y'all ain't shit, y'all, you know, and look at us, we're educated at a statistically probable rate, but they claim they're the most educated. We're starting businesses, but they're not making no money. They're you know, they keep bringing out all these sole proprietorship, sole proprietorship. Yeah. So a lot of that going on, but I didn't hit that 3-hour mark. She's about to go off and snap a little more.
No case shows this as much as this Megan Thee Stallion, because instantly it was conversation about she's lying. He didn't shoot her. Why is she doing this to him? All of these things.
That has turned out to be true, though. That has turned out to be true. Like I said, they the ADL. You can't say nothing about them, even if it's accurate. They're gonna run in full defense mode.
Very little has been said about this man who is part of this bigger, larger conversation. And even if at the end of the trial, it is determined that he didn't shoot her, it was the friend. All I know is there was a man there, and there was a man not showing up in a presence of danger. And we have to also look at that in the Shaquilla Robinson case.
Oh my goodness. Y'all hear what she's saying? Now that the facts have come out, we know what happened now. 2 women was fighting. That's Kelsey and Megan. One of them reached and grabbed a gun. More than likely Kelsey. A shot was fired by a woman. More than likely Kelsey. Tory's only involvement is that he ran and jumped in the middle of it because he did get the gun in his hands. According to the eyewitness, he fired the gun in the air. According to the eyewitness, apparently he jumped in the middle of them and wrestled the gun away. Apparently that happened. Apparently he put his, so by him jumping in to protect these women from themselves, he's on trial facing 24 years. He's on trial facing 24 years for jumping in, intervening, and protecting. Like, that happened.
Look at this young Black woman who is sitting there being beaten on camera. That's how little respect we.
She's talking about that Shaquilla Robinson stuff. I don't know nothing about that. I never covered that. I thought it was going to go away after 2 days. That thing lasted a whole month.
Yeah, for Black women, that she is being beaten on camera by other Black women, which means Black women are also the problem when we don't protect one another. As grown-ass Black men sit there and watch her being attacked and body slammed, and the only offer they add to the contribution to this situation is, why isn't she fighting back? We are in a crisis when it comes to Black women and the lack of respect that Black women are getting, and it is causing Black women to be murdered, killed, die.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you so much for extending that and being able to add in those different examples, because I think you make a great point. Pierre, I'm going to come back to you and kind of wrap us up in this conversation. Then I want to open it up for our live studio audience. You know, in this, I as someone who has been in a situation where, you know, I was harmed by a man, told, you know, some people about it, they didn't believe me. You know, I understand what protect Black women means. I understand how important.
All right. I ain't even about to dig into that. But shout out to everybody in the building. I do appreciate each and each and every one of you. And I'm sorry I botched your joke, Judge. It said cankle in abundance. I thought it said ambulance. My bad. Sorry for botching your joke. Okay, where we at? I'm about to get the hell up out of here. I do appreciate each and every one of you for coming on through today. Appreciate you. I want to make sure I don't miss nobody. The Mac the Trucker came through. He says, who's going to protect her looking like Shrek's wife? Keep Fiona out of this. I used to like Shrek. Mike and Vince Burgers in the building. He says, standard, don't be a bitch. Don't be a hoe. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for coming in the building today. Appreciate each and every one of you. Everybody who liked, shared, subscribed, did anything to support the stream in any way, shape, or form. We definitely do appreciate you. Definitely do appreciate you. Shout out to Theo being the sponsor of today's show. Came through hard and heavy-handed on the super chat and the Cash App. And do appreciate that. Shout out to everybody. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.